Dark angel, with thine aching lust, to rid the world of penitence, malicious angel, who still dost my soul such subtle violence. Because of thee, no thought, no thing abides for me undesecrate. Dark angel, ever on the wing, who never reachest me too late. When music sounds, then changest thou its silvery to a sultry fire, nor will thine envious heart allow delight untortured by desire. Through thee, thy gracious muses turn to furies, O mine enemy, and all the things of beauty burn with flames of evil ecstasy. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fluffenhammer. Get your seatbelts ready. This is going to be a bit of a bumpy ride. Roll the music!
How we beat up, I could need some of you. Straight up, there is nothing else I'd rather do. Sit tight, you may think it's in vain. We need to get back in the game. Oh yeah!
Yeah, Dark Angel by Lionel Johnson, ladies and gents. There, well done. Nice bit of poetry there,
Yeah,
Adam.
I'm going to admit,
It's actually a really good poem, isn't it? It's a really beautiful poem.
it's an absolutely amazing poem. It's a weird one because on its release, it was vilified for being far too lusty, for want of a better word.
Yes. Which is ironic, given the tradition that it's deriving from, which was when you actually look beyond the metaphors, it was often about sex.
Absolutely.
It was often there. So it's come on. Have these people never read John Donne?
Well, I was also thinking of people like Byron, which is basically just go.
Absolutely, the Romantic tradition. It's fucking hell, Jesus. I mean, Byron, who died of syphilis from his many, many, many lovers of various different genders and whatnot. It's
I actually think fucking hell was one of Byron's best works. But yeah, I mean, the guy might as well have had poems just going, well, I fucked up the hill and I fucked down the hill and I went over there and stuck my dick in that. Because
which he kind of does when you actually look, metaphorically. Yes, he does.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Whilst
as most of the Romantics.
Whilst Lionel Johnson's poem is a lot more, it's a lot more subtle and a lot more fearful in a lot of ways, and it's a very very powerful piece of work.
I really like that piece of work. I mean, I did encounter it after I'd gotten into 40k, so I had that context going as well. But then looking back at looking at its original context and with the tradition that it derives from, it's just a really fascinating, lovely piece of work.
Absolutely it is. And speaking of poetry in motion, today there's three of us. The three Fluffers have united to talk about Adepticon.
Yay!
As always, I'm Adam. Over there is Andy. Who in himself is poetry in motion. And over there is a rebel without a pause, and it's George.
Hello.
And we are all here to discuss, well, namely Adepticon, because, I mean, we might as well, there's not exactly anything.
If we've got to,
I mean, we could just sit here and...
Not much else going on, is there?
We could just sit here and talk about the Romantics and their appearances in various Blackadder episodes.
I would happily do that, quite frankly. I mean, the Romantics are one of that is one of my favourite poetry traditions. So yeah, I would happily do that. Blake would be mine. Love William Blake.
That's a bit surprising, actually.
Yeah, absolutely adore William Blake stuff. I think it's stunning, absolutely beautiful, metaphysical revolutionary.
I mean, fair enough. Andy, who's your favourite poet?
I have zero interest in poetry. I think the World Eaters have the best poem. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne, let the galaxy burn.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
That's why I'm a Slanesh worshipper.
I have been going through the End Times novels, right? And
interesting. What, from Fantasy Battle, the end of Fantasy Battle?
Never read them. So what I've been doing is, as I've been reading the novels, I've also been reading the campaign books. The big sort of the end time tomes.
Oh god, those were brilliant. They're massive, aren't they? They're massive.
They're massive. They're fantastic. The Skaven found an Eldar ship and dropped the moon on the lizards.
They did.
Yeah,
They
it's all
did.
wonderful.
Yes, that's absolutely
But there
true.
is one bit, and Andy just reminded me of it there, which absolutely blew my mind, and it's a high priestess of Cain, right? And she comes out with a line, and it's Cain does not care where the drops of blood land, but they must land. And it was a moment of just, oh, you couldn't make that any less subtle, could you?
Right. I mean, the notion that Cain is an aspect of Khorne, which he always has been. I mean, the symbol's the fucking same. I mean, come
absolutely. And it's just one of those things where, oh, come on. Yeah, you couldn't.
Right.
You might as well have just said, I am the High Priestess of Khorne. I mean, Cain.
Yeah. Something that begins with KH and ends with an N, right? It does,
Khan. I'm the High Priestess of Khan. Oh dear. Anyhow, so before we get into anything else, let's find out what people have been up to. Let's peer back the layers of reality and see what the stars that dwell within hold for us. Andy, we shall begin with you. First of all, I shall ask you did you know that my favourite colour was blue?
I did.
And then I'll peel open my face and just see the things within. But what have you...
One of us needs to scream now if we're going to, have some fidelity to that scene.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to lie on my back and...
We need to wake up screaming.
Just start rolling around going, I'm losing me. The question is anybody going to get it? Because we're just... Yeah.
That's it. It is a little bit obscure. If you're not like a hardcore John Carpenter fan, then you're probably not.
Oh, like my wife, who's a hardcore Sam Neill fan.
Yeah, that too, because I'm both. He's great. Sam Neill's great.
But did you guys know that Abby shares the same birthday as Sam Neill?
Yes, I did.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
I think you mentioned it when you two went to see the Jurassic Park concert live.
Yes,
point.
That's right. Yeah. I tried a couple of times to see if we could get Sam Neill to send her a happy birthday, saying, "Yay!"
Oh God, that would be.
But he doesn't do cameo or anything like that, and he doesn't do requests, which is completely understandable because he's probably totally inundated by him. But anyhow, Andy, if I just grab hold of the inside of your face, open it up wide, step inside, and say, "What have you been doing in the last week and a half since we last recorded?"
Not too much. I saw you. That was probably the biggest thing that happened in terms of the hobby. I don't think I've done any. I don't think I've done any since then, apart from finished off the second Siege of Terror book. That's really been about it, unfortunately.
Which one's that, Andy? Which
oh
one's
God, is that Echoes of Eternity? Is that what the second one is?
No.
It's not Solar Wars. That's the first one, isn't it? Pass. Can't remember.
It's not Mortis, is it? Mortis is the...
No, that's later.
It's called Lost and the Damned. That's it.
Lost and the Damned. That's the one.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't too bad.
Is that the one? Is that the one where like all the traitor Primarchs gather, where like Perturabo is sent off to get Angron back for the siege
the one
and all that?
Where Angron lands on the planet.
Oh yes! Oh, the heavy metal moment where he's like he's literally riding the Conqueror, right?
He jumped
That's
out
so
of
cool.
And he's just floating around outside the gates saying, "Come and fight me." And the Sanguinius is like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm all right. I don't need to."
That's for later, right?
We don't fight
for
just
later.
yet.
Yeah, later.
I really want there to be some like animation done for the Siege of Terror before the last book comes out, and it's just all these moments just animated whilst Metallica's "For Whom the Bell Tolls" plays in the background. I just think it would work beautifully.
Probably would work really well. I mean, one thing they've really gone for, like with the latter half of the Solar Wars books, the Siege of Terror books rather, is like just the desolation of it all, right? I mean, at this point, like nobody even knows what they're fighting for anymore, barring like the Emperor and Horus.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Titans don't, do they?
No, but definitely not.
Let's not get into that. So, out of all the Horus Heresy books that you've read and listened to so far, young Andy, where do you think Siege of Terror fits? Is it a really good one? Is it an okay one? Is it poopy pants? Crappy crap.
It's not fair to really compare them, though, is it? Because like Horus Heresy is lots of individual stories, while these 9 books in total, when they all eventually come out, are one cohesive story. So it's really it's hard to say. It's not a Ben Counter book. Let's just say that. He hasn't.
No, they're quite different beasts, aren't they? There's a really like a sort of tonal and dynamic shift from the Horus Heresy books
I think it's 'cause
to
it's
the Siege of
focused.
Terror.
It's not just like
I think that's exactly
a
it.
little journey, a little story about this Primarch.
Yeah. Do you want to do? It's not like someone getting an email saying, "Do you want to do a Horus
it's
Heresy
like,
book?"
Yeah, all right.
Right.
Why do I feel that needs to be done to the tune of "Do you want to build a snowman"?
Huh.
Do you want to write some Horus?
I bet George
Get
would
some
be
Angron
well
on the
board.
walls.
Would you have done it, George? If someone said you want to write a Horus Heresy novel, would you have been on board? Yeah.
I would, yeah, I'd absolutely go for it, just because I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to resist. I'd love to contribute to this lore in some particular way. And it would probably be the word bearers I'd want to write in some
Would it?
way, shape,
Would
or
it
form.
just be Erebus winning? It's just-
I do hate Erebus, but I like the fact that he's the character that's made, so you love to hate him. So I mean, like, really, at the moment, it really does look like if there's a winner of the whole of 40k, it's Erebus, right? Erebus just wins. He gets everything he wants out of it. Everything he bloody wants.
Yeah. Oh man, I hate him, but I love him, but I hate him.
You've got to hate him, but he's great to hate.
He is. He
you know?
is. I mean, it's one of those things where I just kind of really wish that Khan had done more to him. But
what, then bury like Gorechild in his back?
I don't even think that would be enough. It was like I wouldn't be happy unless he was filled full of like hamsters and then just thrown out of an airlock.
To be 100% fair to Khan had him dead to rights. If he wasn't sort of like a chaos witchy guy, then he wouldn't have gotten away from that. You know, the axe would have gone right through him.
But even so, it's annoying because I know he survives, but
Oh yeah, he's around now. Yeah, he's very happy. You know, he's in the High Council of Sicarius, which is the world that the vast sort of cathedral world that the word bearers inhabit in the Eye of Terror. So he's inordinately happy.
What was the
with
last
himself.
major thing that he did or was took part in?
That's a good point. I don't know. He has been mentioned in like quite a few of like the bigger campaigns, like leading cohorts of word bearers, but there's never been any like specific focus on him. I mean, if they could really do with doing that, to be honest. Like, the word bearers are one of the more coherent Chaos Legions as well. They are organised and they have a central authority, which is the Dark Council on Sicarius. So it would be great if they did a campaign based on like a gigantic Black Crusade launched by the word bearers, rather than the Black Legion for a change.
the only two things I know that Erebus does is he's constantly like having a political battle with Corpheron, isn't he? For the part.
Yeah, him and Corpheron have sort of fallen out
Yeah.
now, haven't they? They used to be in cahoots, but they've kind of fallen out now. Probably over an article of faith. It's probably due to a differing interpretations of what they're supposed to be doing or whatever. So Corpheron leads a massive contingent of the word bearers who are ensconced in the Maelstrom. The other warp storm that's sort of on the other end of the galaxy where the Red Corsairs are, and Erebus heads up the Dark Council, which is on Sicarius in the Eye of Terror. Although Lorgar's still around too, of course. Lorgar is Demon Primarch of Chaos Undivided, one of the very few, in fact. So he's still knocking about too. It's just that he's been sealed away in his Reclusiam for the last 10,000 years and hasn't really done very much.
Wasn't Erebus like mentioned in the Cadian, the Fall of Cadia?
Yes, he was mentioned in the Fall of Cadia. He was involved in some of Abaddon's
That's
plans. Like, him and Abaddon get on reasonably well, apparently, because there are like contingents of the word bearers who regard Abaddon as the true prophet of chaos, as opposed to Horus, who was just sort of sacrificial.
George, what about yourself? Have you been up to much recently?
Well, in terms of like miniature hobbying and whatnot, not very much. What I have been doing is moving all of my vast, piles of shame around because my little place has been renovated, so I had to sort of move them into storage, and that's kind of demonstrated to me just how much of the piles of shame there is and how much needs to be done. Beyond that, I received very, very recently the latest 2 battle tomes from AOS, which is the Blades of Khorne and the Hedonites of Slaanesh. Blades of Khorne have always been good. Like they were one of the first armies to actually have a battle tome, weren't they? Way back in like the early days of Age of Sigmar. If you remember. It was these guys in the Stormcast,
That's
right?
correct.
That had the first battle tomes, and they weren't called the Blades of Khorne back then. They were called the Bloodbound.
They
of
were.
Khorne,
That's
if
right.
you remember.
Good God, yes.
But they've been, very long time ago. But these guys have been consistently good since then. They haven't had a bad release, and this one's no different. It's a great book. It's it's another bloody winner for Age of Sigmar 3.0. Every book, right? Mm-hmm. Every book is a winner. Every single one of them is really, 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 really good. And this is absolutely no exception. It's a lovely piece of work. I haven't finished it in its entirety yet, but it's so much fun to read. Like the artwork, the background, everything in here is brilliant. And it even has something that'll probably tickle your fancy, Adam. There's a few old pictures from the Slaves to Darkness books of, like demon weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some of those in here.
Beautiful.
Which is really nice, right? Recreated. But of course, the one that really excited me was the Hedonites, because they're my army in AOS. And I've been waiting for this one, to be honest, because it is the one that really did excite me, and they've done them really, really well. Again, it's a fantastic book. It feels like for all of the battle tomes in 3.0, they really sat down and thought like, okay, so what is this army? What is its ethos? How do they function? And how are they different from everything else? How can we make these guys characterful and fun and different? And with the Hedonites, the big thing, the really big thing, beyond like all the little like quality of life improvements and whatnot, is their allegiance ability, which is the Temptations of Slaanesh. It's absolutely brilliant. So at the start of each of the battle rounds, you get a pool of 6 dice, and these are your temptation dice. And what you can do is every time your opponent makes a failed hit roll, a failed wound roll, or a failed save roll in that battle round, you can sort of sidle up to them and say, well, I could offer you a 6 if you like. I could turn that roll into a 6 if you'd like. And if they accept, then you get 6 depravity points, it's sort of like the points that you use to summon Slaaneshi demons, but also the points by which your army gains new abilities. And they rack up pretty quickly if your opponent accepts those 6s. If they don't accept them, then the unit that they're rolling for just automatically suffers die 3 mortal wounds. So it's really nasty. It's a really nasty ability, and it's so much fun. It's like role-playing, and it's very Slaaneshi. I mean, this is the most Slaaneshi rule that's ever existed, because it's a legitimate temptation, right? It's brilliant fun. I really, really love that. And, you can imagine how that's going to be when you play it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Any Slaanesh player worth their salt is going to be playing that up to the hilt, yeah? Got me a lovely selection of 6s here, love. Would you like one?
Oh, good evening there. Would you like to take one of these 6s? It doesn't matter if you take it now or later, but we both know you'll take one eventually.
I mainly deal in 6s. It's so you could have so much fun with this, and it works. It's a mechanic that is theatrical but works. It's functional as well. It's really clever. More of that, please.
For some reason,
more of that.
For some reason, when you said we only deal in 6s here, it just made me think of Withnail and I, and I've just got this image of like, excuse me, we've gone to the fucking mortal realms on fucking accident. Are you Sigma? Of course he's fucking Sigma.
Stop saying that, Withnail. Of course he's fucking Sigma. Dear me. But no, I mean, it's great. This is my own bias aside. I love the Hedonites, especially after they released the Mortal models, because they're probably one of my favorite ranges that's ever been. I think the Mortal Slaanesh models, they have just knocked all of them out of the park. All of them. Zigfold may be my favorite miniature ever. The more I look at that mini, the more I think, bloody hell, they've done it with this one. That's exactly what they wanted to capture, right? That this guy is impossibly elegant and beautiful and angelic, but is he actually an evil narcissist? I love that to bits. And there's a new one, of course. There's the Lord of Hubris, who's again, it has this really weird theatrical rule, which is loads of fun, and it's called "You First, I Insist." And basically, when he's in melee with an enemy unit, he can automatically offer to have them get the strike first rule, which means they'll fight first. The sort of offside of that is that all of the attacks of that unit have to be directed at him. So it's like it's a distraction.
Nice.
It's great, isn't it? It's a really fun, subtle thing, and I can see that being used to really disrupt the enemy. If they want to aim all of their attacks at someone else who's in the melee, you can use that to draw the attacks elsewhere. It's very cool. I mean, and it's a great miniature as well, really elegant. What they seem to have done is try to make these guys the mirror opposite of the Blades of Khorne, who they released simultaneously. They work in opposite ways. It's like they're mirrors of one another. That's just genius, given the relationship between Slaanesh and Khorne. There's a lot of stuff in here in terms of background as well, about a lot of stuff about their dynamic with the Dawnbringer Crusades and the faith of Sigmar, because of course Slaanesh is the exact opposite. Any hint of license and the Dawnbringer Crusades, the Inquisitors and the Stormcast themselves come down like a ton of bricks, right? So there's a lot of stuff about how the cults of Slaanesh and the influence of Slaanesh is taking root within the new settlements, the new cities, and even the Dawnbringer Crusades themselves. So that's lovely. Absolutely lovely. There's how there are descriptions of each of the circles of Slaanesh, each circle that is part of Slaanesh's realm, which represents one of the 7 deadly sins, effectively. There are now pictures of them as well, which are really lovely, really lovely. I mean, you shared with me that essay, Adam, that somebody wrote, that article about how this book is afraid of the more sexual aspects of Slaanesh, and that's a wider conversation, which I believe we've had in one of the Patreon episodes. And that aspect is always going to be there, actually, because that's actually a problematic dynamic of our cultures and traditions. But I would say that article kind of got it wrong, because this book in particular goes nearer the knuckle than any of the Slaanesh books have ever done.
Okay.
There's stuff in here that just goes right to the edge.
Yeah, it doesn't come out and say full blown, but
no.
There's enough there,
That's what it's getting at. Well, there's a picture as well of Slaanesh's palace, and it's very phallic.
Okay,
you know, it's very phallic. I mean, there's a description of the circle of carnality, which of course is the circle of physical lust and sex, and it never uses those terms. But if you look beyond the implications and the suggestions of the language, then it's definitely
we talked
there.
about the Peen Tower last time with Big Swing and D. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it's here. It's here. The Palace of Pleasure.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes,
the brown base and the pink top. Yeah.
That's the one.
It's like
that's
a Napoleon
the one.
ice cream.
But no,
more peanut.
Kind of looks like an ice cream. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I love this book. I love it to bits, and this may be the one that actually gets me properly collecting for AOS, to be honest, because I really want to get an army with these guys together, because I think it's brilliant. I think it's genuinely brilliant, and I just there's part of me that just wants to play a game where I can muck about with the temptation dice.
Yeah,
thing.
Absolutely. That's such a great idea.
Isn't it wonderful? What a great dynamic. I mean, as I say, more of that. I just want to see more of that in AOS and 40k, to be honest. There are armies you could do stuff like that in 40k with, you know?
I think we'll talk in depth about 40k later on.
We might.
Because lots of stuff.
Might have to, you know. events are
Well,
forced
we don't
hands in
have
that
to,
regard
you know.
a
We
little
can just
but
leave it.
probably being a Warhammery podcast,
Yeah, I mean,
there's a certain degree of obligation when things like this
Yeah.
happen. It's almost an anniversary for the Fluffenhammer, because like, do you remember that when the Fluffenhammer started on when 8th Ed was about
that's
to come
true.
out?
Actually, yeah. It was.
At the very tail end of 7th Ed, it was when Magnus came back, and we had the campaign. What was it? The War on Fenris. That was great fun. That was
Good
great
God,
fun.
that's so long ago now.
It was a long while ago now, wasn't it? When the Thousand Sons invaded
3
Fenris.
editions ago now. Oh my God.
That feels, yeah, that's bad, isn't it? Jeez, wow, that was a long time ago when the first Primarch,
Yes.
came out.
And I'm pretty sure we were talking about how a certain snaky Primarch was going to be next. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah.
yeah.
As for myself, I've done a couple of things. Thanks to the intervention of young Mr. Andy here, have bought some Leagues of Photon.
Yay!
Yay!
I have painted them in Blacktron colours, so they are black with all the cloth being white.
Excellent.
I have got the green just right. And
I was going to say if they got glowy green
yes.
bits.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. They kind
A
of need
mix
to,
of
black
two
one.
contrasts. I've never mixed contrast paints before, so I've mixed a really bright yellow and a really bright green, and I've got exactly what I wanted. And
Excellent.
it
Does
does.
it work?
It does.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get photos of them up after I've cleaned them up a little bit because they're a bit messy, but actual.
Very,
See
very
them finished.
nice. Very nice. So you're going all in on the.
I think I
Votan,
probably
are you?
will.
You've got it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you've been waiting for such a long time.
Yeah, it
isn't
is,
you
and
know?
I really like the background.
That means we can have a fight, Adam. It means we can actually have a fight, and it's probably going to be in 10th Ed now,
Yep.
isn't it? But we could actually like Thousand Sons versus Votan.
Absolutely,
Yeah?
and I'm just going to run you over with my big
Yay.
Blacktron vehicles.
Oh,
The
it's all right. We're dust. We'll get back up again.
I am-
It's like, and then you can run us over again, and then we can get back up
I
again.
am seriously considering getting the big tank. I keep wanting to call it the Hecate, but that's not what it's called.
The thing that looks like a kind of like turtle van.
I keep wanting to get that, and I want to replace the wheels with the actual Blacktron big, chunky, big, thick wheels.
Yeah.
But
That'd be
that'd be
grand.
easy.
To
Look at-
do potentially,
Oh,
depending
yeah.
on how the wheels are molded.
Yeah,
in.
I think you could get away with that very easily. Yeah, you could get away with
I
that.
don't see any problems whatsoever with it. I think it would just look great.
In the Blacktron
Yeah.
colours, actually, that would look
Oh
amazing.
yeah,
wouldn't
G2
it?
Blacktron. Just yeah. The only downside is I need to try and find a way of getting Blacktron symbols to go on their shoulders, which I think is going to end up. I don't want to try and freehand it because
I was going to say, you're going to
I don't
stencil
know.
them, maybe?
I don't know what I'm going to do.
That might work.
I've sent an email off to a sticker company to ask if they can make me like
Do you
yeah.
some Blacktron
like
symbols?
really tiny Blacktron symbols on transparent paper. So we'll see what they say.
Oh, dear.
But keeping in the short and hairy idea, I also have Battletome Caradron Overlords.
Oh, yes, which is another bloody winner. Another one! AOS, why? What? I'm getting as annoyed as you are, Adam, with like the lack of fanfare around AOS 3rd edition, because every book is so
Who
Absolutely.
like silly swords and sorcery. It's about guns and the future and space and other magic.
Don't get me wrong, I love 40k to bits, I really do, and it deserves all the fanfare it's going to get, but they've put so much effort into these books and into this game. It is the best fantasy game they've ever done.
who's writing
right?
them, though.
3.0 Age of Sigmar it's so
think that-
good. It's so
You know the
good.
books that you've really enjoyed so far. Do you, you probably easier to tell this than I. Does it feel like it's coming from the same writers, or does it feel like it's coming from different writers? Since it's not credited, obviously.
It feels very coherent. It feels really coherent. So if it is from different writers, they're a really tight team. You know, there's a definite vision. There's a definite vision, because a lot of the balance issues have been solved as well. I've got most of the books that have come out in 3.0, and there's none of this like, the sky is falling. Oh, the new killer army or anything like that in
No.
AOS. It just doesn't seem to happen. They're all interesting. They all play in different ways. They're all very unique. And I don't know, there's I mean, we're going to talk about this in detail, but there is a reason why 10th Ed 40k is obviously based on AOS 3.0. I mean, you can see it is already from what we've already been told. The rules are pretty much the same, you know.
There's a couple of changes that have taken place, but the bare bones of it are basically 3.0 AOS. It's
because it's a really, 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 really good system.
It's an incredible system. Like, in all honesty, and without hyperbole or anything along those lines, 3.0 AOS is at the pinnacle of what you can do with AOS, with the idea of what it is, being the big skirmish game that it is. I don't know how you're going to be able to make anything better other than a couple of points tweaks and
refine.
Yeah.
I think that because the basis of it is phenomenally good now.
But you're absolutely right. Every single one of the battle tomes has been superb. I've got a few of them. I don't have all of them because that costs money. But it
costs a little money.
Each one I've got is really, really good. It actually says something when the weakest one is the Auric Warclans book. And that's purely because it spends too much time with the Cruel Boys, who are shit.
And that's a matter of taste, obviously,
Absolutely it is.
But
the Skaven book, it really gets into the idea of the Skaven are a elemental entropic force. Yeah.
Yes, it goes really hard on that, doesn't it? Like they really want to, sell the Skaven as like almost like metaphysical, right? They are the manifestation of entropy itself.
Yeah, they're basically almost like tiny demigods in of themselves as a swarm race.
I just didn't you love that detail in like the Maggotkin of Nurgle book that like the demons of the horned rat are the rats that infest Nurgle's manse.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a new detail, and it's frigging awesome. Isn't it?
It's really, really cool. I mean, there's a sequence in the Skaven book where it talks about the different types of vermin lords that you get, and they're all plotting and planning against each other in the Skaven way. And there's one of them, and he just sort of sits in the shadows waiting, and he's just constantly waiting, and he's watching as all of his enemies like attack each other, and he's waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and he's been waiting for millennia, and he's not moving. He's not going to make his move. I could have made a move there. No, still not strong enough, and he just waits, and it's just like. That is the just lurking and brooding and just waiting for his enemies to weaken each other. It's so perfect, and I love it.
That's a very clever little narrative detail as well, because they could explode that later on, and that could be like anything. It could be a campaign, it could be a mini, it could be the basis around which they shift the Skaven into a new dynamic. It's really clever.
It's just, once again, that annoyance of, this book is an amazing book, and please, God, can you just get the Skaven out into the front, please?
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's the same is true of like the Beasts of Chaos. Recently their battle tome was released. That's bloody brilliant as well. They go with that. It's dynamically very, very. It's almost like a sister book to the Skaven. But whereas the Skaven are like elemental entropy, the Beastmen are elemental. They're elemental anarchy. So it's anti-civilization, anti-law. That's what they're about. And it's all this sort of. They've gone really hard to make them the opposite of the Sylvaneth. So they are the dark side of nature. They are the more fey side of nature. The dark fables. It's really cool.
When do you think they're gonna get? When do you think they're gonna get another AOS push? When
2 years.
Oh God.
You think it's that far away?
The last big one was the Broken Realms. They might, when the Cities of Sigmar hit, they might get a push then.
So you think, George, that it's going to be
massive.
this edition? Or do you think it'll be next edition?
I mean, what it will be the end of this edition. It'll be when like they get to the next narrative campaign that ends this edition and moves into the next one. That will be my guess. Whatever that happens to be, whatever the equivalent of the Broken Realms is at the end of this. They're going to have to work bloody hard because Broken Realms was excellent by and large.
I still say, I've said it many times, I'll say it again, that Be'lakor book is the best thing that Games Workshop have ever written.
It's very good. It is very good.
But the Caradron book, just to quickly get into that, there's a couple of things in the Caradron book which really stand out to me. I'm not going to get into the rules and things. There's some really cool stuff in there about how the Caradron run and how you can generate Aether Gold, and it's all very, very cool. And grudges are back, which makes me really happy. And you can
that's cool. What a throwback!
Yeah, it's like proper like. You might as well have done me out of a business deal. I'm going to shoot you with my big guns. But what's really cool, there's two things that are really cool in here. One is Grungy is front and centre in this book.
Yeah.
And it is amazing how they've got him. I don't want to spoil it because obviously there are people out there who won't have read it and maybe have a need to or a want to, so I won't get into too much detail. Yeah. But the fact that Grungy is in here and Grungy's entire appearance kind of, should we say, fucks up Marathi a little bit. It's like a little bit of whoopsie daisy. That's
yeah. There is very much like they're setting up like a narrative between the Caradron and the Daughters of Cain.
Yeah. Right? It's Grungy and it's Marathi herself. There's something happening here, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but for some reason those two are circling each other, about to tear strips out of each other. And
yeah, it's almost like they're elementally dynamically opposite in some way.
Yeah, and I can't quite see it.
Two of the two new gods on the scene, right?
I mean, Grungy is.
I mean, I know Grungy is an older, but he's just made his reappearance, right, for the first time.
Yeah, he's
in a long, long while.
Turned back up to kick the shit out of everyone and say, look, all you dwarfs need to start working together, whether you be Fireslayer, Caradron, or Dispossessed. And I'm really happy, actually, because I had a horrible feeling that the Caradron and the Fireslayers were going to get merged in this book, and I'm really happy that they haven't. The other thing, which I think is really cool about this book, is how hopeful it is. There is a real sense of just hope for the race, and it's beautifully done in a
which the dwarves haven't had for a while, have they? Really, like the Duarden haven't had for quite a while. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. They are one of the more hopeful species, though, aren't they? In AOS, they haven't got that sort of like legacy of ancient tragedy that like the Lumineth have, for example, or the fact that they are the bastard children of a dippy god like the Ideneth.
I mean, you've got the Smith gods. One of them went off to Sigmarion to make the Stormcast. The other vanished and left all of his children to fend for themselves. And that's pretty much as bad as it gets for the... I mean, obviously, you've got the Realm of Chaos and various strongholds.
Yeah, you've got all the big general stuff. Yeah,
but it's like a really centred in personal race tragedy. They don't really have it, and it's interesting.
No, the Caradron in particular are really dynamic as well. They don't sort of sit and mull over their problems or their ancestral past as such. They're all about like getting out there and getting their goals.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. It's we've got to get out there. We've got to make money, because if I don't make money, I can't fly my big ship, and I've got to fly my big ship to make money.
Exactly. Exactly that.
Yeah, it's there's a certain. I know they are super capitalist, but there's something about them I really enjoy.
It's something I've noticed again, something they've done with the armies in AOS in particular. They really want them to have a dynamic. All of them. They want them to have this narrative dynamic that's pushing them forward. Even if it is as simple as dwarves wanting riches, you know? They want something that's going to make them not... Because it was one of the big problems with Fantasy Battle towards the end, where the armies just existed. And they were doing... nothing. They were just sat there in the world and like, oh well, they're in this part of the world and they sit there and they don't do anything.
Well, there's...
They don't want that for the... I mean, like, you know, the Hedonites, it's all about freeing Slaanesh, obviously, and that's a great dynamic for these guys. The Blades of Khorne have already got it built in because it's kill, main, burn, kill, main, burn, kill, main, burn, you know. The Slaves to Darkness, again, it's kind of obvious because it's all of Archaon and Balakor's machinations. There's something for all. I mean, the I was going to call them the Slan. Then they're not the Slan either. The Seraphon now. But their new dynamic as like the celestial overwatchers and keepers of the geomantic web. You know, the creatures that keep the weave of reality together. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Love it. Love it to bits.
I think one of the cool things about AOS and how AOS works is that they've taken like the crumb of what these races were in the old world and then extrapolated out in a completely different direction. So the dwarves are gold hungry. So in this case, the Caradon, they search for Aether Gold. Why do they search for Aether Gold? Because they needed to keep their big ships and cities flying. Excellent. The Fire Slayers need it because they believe it's the blood of the god, and they hammer it into their flesh to make them stronger. And such a wonderful way of changing the very traditional and quintessential aspects of these races into something fresh and new. And the Caradron book, it runs with that idea. So everything from like the Dwarven Honour and the Dwarven Grudges, it's all done through this very mercurial lens that just turns it into something that's a bit more capitalist, it's a bit less you looked at me funny, and it's more you broke the code that we set down, and that becomes really interesting as a race.
It's interesting. I mean, it lends them a certain dynamism and also an ideology that it's something to get your teeth into.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
It is, and it's wonderful.
This is what's going to draw people in because that's what drew us in, right? When we were kids, it's always been the lore, right? It's always been the lore. That's what distinguishes these systems from any of the others. So, it's just wonderful to see. Again, I just wish there was more sort of celebration of it out there. I really do.
Hey Andy, we've done it. We've made George get on side. George now understands our pain.
It's about time. No,
I get it.
George just knows.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I always understood.
Yes.
You know, I got it. I mean, even though I've traditionally favoured 40k, and probably, I probably always will. I mean, the way the fantasy system is now, it's so good. It's so good. And the background is so good. It deserves way more than it kind of gets at the moment.
It's infuriating. Absolutely infuriating.
Yeah.
Right then. So,
shall we have a look?
Before we do that, before we get into the things, I have set out this week's social media scramble brain.
Oh my god, that's a new name for the thing.
So basically what I've asked is everybody out there, if there is a new Xenos race on the horizon for 40k as is rumoured, what do you want? What do you want it to be? Why do you want it to be that? Give me all the silliness. So that's a social media stumper for this week, and we will come back to that at the end of the show.
Oh, excellent.
So, with all that being said, shall we get into Adepticon and see what wonders sit in store for us? So,
let's have a look.
So, we're going to start at the very top, because we're going to do this in reverse order, and we're going to carve a path to the heart of the Weird Hollow.
Oh, yes. 2 new warbands.
So, Andy, we've got some more Underworld.
Yeah.
We do.
More Stormcast, our 7th.
More Stormcast.
Stormcast.
I mean, they're good Stormcasts. They're interesting.
One.
I mean, they're
Out of the.
I know. I can't. I'm not. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to defend
They
it.
look
But
good.
you know, as Stormcast go, these guys are great. I mean, there's the one that's floating and like the wizardy guy. I'm going to turn him into a Thousand Sun Sorcerer. I know. I've got 12 of them already, and there's no way you can fit at the moment that you can field 12 in a single army. I don't care. He's getting turned into a Thousand Sun
If you
Sorcerer.
wanted, maybe
so
turn him into a Heat Knight of Slanesh.
I could, in fact, yeah, that with the sculpted torso. If you made that like just naked, like a naked torso, yeah, you could get away with that. You definitely could.
Oh, what you do is you paint the torso naked, you paint the neck piece as a collar, and then you still paint the studs in, and yeah, you go. You've got yourself a wonderful.
Yeah, he would
Yeah.
fit. He would
Leave all the
definitely
studs
fit.
greaves.
all across the
I mean,
board and just
actually-
put blood around them as well, so it looks like it's studded into
Yeah.
the flesh.
That sounds good,
I'll
actually. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, I've got a penchant for wizards of all kinds, and these guys are kind of all wizards. And I as Stormcast go, I like them.
Is it
I
weird
think
the
they're
one with the
cool.
white face specifically to me looks like the antagonist from the Astartes series? You know how they have the two sidekicks?
Yep, I can see that.
Aha.
Yep.
I have a bit of that going
Yeah,
on.
I can
don't
definitely
think it's
see
a direct
that.
nod, but
I like the detail. I like the detail of the horns
Yeah.
being thunderbolts. That's kind of
Yeah.
cute. His bunny ears being thunderbolts. Oh, and his weapon as well. His scepter's kind of got the thunderbolt motif going on. That's cute.
I'm going to admit, I freaking love the guy with the hood.
Yeah, he's very cool, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, like, he looks to me, for some reason, I'm getting vibes of Harryhausen films from
I
him.
think
I don't know
it's
why.
face. It's because it looks like
Yeah.
Neptune, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know what? He does a little bit.
Classic
Yes, he does a
Neptune
little
where
bit.
they, stop animation.
There is
them.
there is. I think you've hit it on the head there, Andy. There is a sort of ancient Greek thing going on here. He looks like a tragedy in mask
yeah.
or something. That's kind
I
of
think
cool.
this guy's
you know?
wanting to be a Dark Angel if you wanted to repurpose this one.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, it's
yeah.
a robe. Easy.
Oh god, yeah, and an interrogator chaplain. Oh, yeah, you could do that with him
I
so
think the last one
brilliantly.
was a bit like a word bearer for some reason, maybe because of the high back collar.
Yeah,
And the thing in the middle of its forehead.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
fluff that away and it's a mark of chaos or some runic nonsense. Sure.
yeah. But you know, just as like Stormcast, these guys are really interesting and dynamic. I don't think I've ever seen like Stormcast that have this much character
No.
to
It
them.
seems like they've gone for the more lithe, not season 3, third edition version of Stormcast.
Yep.
Season
Three
3 Stormcast.
Season 3 Stormcast, which are much more lithe and whatnot, and they've still given them the
Yeah,
extra
you're right.
personality of the underworld stuff and the wizardry stuff.
They look a bit more like knights, don't they, rather than like sort of space
Yes.
marine-y kind of characters that they used to. And I really like that. I really like that.
They look like He-Man characters if He-Man was done in the 1840s.
There is a He-Man-ish quality to them, definitely.
I don't know why I think that, but
Which is no bad thing, by the way. That's not a
no,
condemnation.
no, not at all. And that's, that's right up there. I mean, the guy with the hood, he looks like if Skeletor, instead of turning evil, had turned to good and went off to try and save everybody by
Yeah,
crushing rocks with his mind.
I'm just looking at these guys in terms of like, you know, pure hobby, like painting them. These would be great fun to
Yeah.
paint.
Oh, apart from the
Yeah.
vial. It's never fun to paint the vials with the liquids inside, unless you're really good at painting.
Nobody likes
Unless
those,
you're
do
really
they?
good at painting,
I'm alright.
then you're fine. You're probably like, that's easy. It's like, get out of here.
But of course, my as much as I like the Stormcast, I mean,
7.
the Zeech side has got
Yeah,
all
this
the
is
songs.
way better.
right?
Yeah.
This is a lot better
Yeah.
than their previous
I
one.
mean,
and their
my
previous warband
God.
was pretty good as well. I've actually got that one. Yeah.
Right, wasn't it?
This one's better.
Wasn't
just
it?
Easily
But
better.
this is whoa. I just love the fact that with Zeech, they're going, because the technology and the sculpting now has reached such a point, they're going weirder and weirder
Yep.
and weirder and weirder. And Zeech, do you remember, like, Zeech used to be the god that had the least going for them in terms of like the miniatures range and just the stuff you could do with them. Now it's the total opposite. They've gone completely wild with the Zeech miniatures range, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. This the Central Sorcerer. I mean, it looks like something from a Guillermo del Toro
Yes,
film.
Pan's Labyrinth thing that eats
Doesn't
the
it?
fairies, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
That's
much
him,
the
yeah.
pale man. Yeah.
The eye in the belly button really makes me feel uncomfortable. And
I love it. It's just so cool, right?
It's an incredible piece of work. The weird little tentacle things with the eyes coming out the side, and
Yeah.
oh, that fucking feather pen. Oh,
Right, what is that about? It's just so great, isn't it? You can tell it's a quill from a Lord
Yeah.
of Change, right, as well. I mean, it's just so cool. It's so cool. It's a beautiful sorcerer.
she is something else. Like just absolutely else.
Yeah.
Ephilium's Pandademononium.
Yep. It's got a silly Zeech name, that's for sure.
Ephilium. It's weird that Ephilium is
That's it.
the name I can say without problems. Pandaemonomium.
That's it. Ephilim's
There we go.
Pandemonium. That's it. Ephilim's Pandemonium is what you've got here, and it's
Yeah.
stunning. I've got every miniature in it is just wow.
I like the backstory for her. Yeah, she's just wandering around.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, just fucking around, seeing what I can create. Just
I love
smushing
that.
demonic creatures together.
Right, so you've got like someone who's trying to create new species
Yeah.
of demon. That's brilliant. That's utterly brilliant. I love it. I love it to bits. I mean, it's a great background, a great miniature set. If there's any justice, these guys will be
Do you
really
think
popular.
anyone's going to make a little wheelchair for the Zangor?
He kind of
Yeah,
looks like he
you can do
needs
with a
one,
hand getting
doesn't
around.
he? Oh,
I mean,
bless.
what I would want to do, sorry, whenever there's these things are released, I always look at them and think, is there anything in there that I would like to use for anything? And this one makes me want to do a Zechian warband for
Yeah.
Warcry, right? And the
Yeah.
Zangor type demon, I love him so much. I would just want him to be my leader. You know, maybe mess around with him a little bit, give him a pair of tiny little Zangor legs, just to make him look really weird. You know, but
I mean,
yeah,
weirder,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I like his little sort of nascent wings.
Yeah.
I think that's
I'm
really
surprised
cool.
they don't want to turn these into squigs. At least 3 of them into squigs.
They'd
Yeah,
make good
three of
They
squigs,
would,
wouldn't
but I love them too much as little pink horror mutations. I mean, they look fucking weird, and that's what pink horrors are meant to
Yeah.
do. They're meant to be really unsettling, and these guys
Yeah,
are.
these are... For me, these are the most Zeech, like sincerely Zechian
Yeah.
miniatures that have been out, for the longest time. Because they're properly Lovecraftian, right? You could definitely... These guys would work well in like a Call of Cthulhu role play, a lot of them.
Oh, absolutely. There's enough tentacles and teeth to make it really work.
Yeah. They're gorgeous. I love them, and I love the fact that like the one that's just like a big sort of starfishy thing. They've painted like the eye in the middle with a swirl. I think that's brilliant. I think that's absolutely
I
brilliant.
want to see that starfish one from the side, because the way they photographed it, my eyes can't quite register what I'm looking at. It's
Yeah.
like,
And that's good,
yeah.
isn't it? I mean, for Zeech, that's ace, right?
absolutely. I am absolutely on board, and I just kind of wish that this wasn't a Underworld release.
Yeah, as an aesthetic for Zeech, if this is where they're going to increasingly go, fabulous, because this is what Zeech is all about, right?
And the thing
I've
about
been
this as well,
interested to
Griff,
see-
it's in a big box set as well. So if you just wanted this,
Yeah.
like I wanted the Graveguard, what were they called? The Sword of Vermilion? Is that what they were
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
I wanted them because they were really good skeletons, but I wasn't willing to buy the entire giant box.
The
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
set, yeah. Just for them, right?
Did they never get a single release?
Well, they haven't yet. I don't know if they're not gonna, but they're not at the moment. No, as far as I know, at least.
Because most,
Yeah, they're meant to eventually.
most Underworld, most Underworld's releases got a mail order release where you could buy them for AOS.
We used to have them in the stores as well.
They did, yeah.
That won't be the case anymore.
Yeah, my God, I mean...
No, it's you can just mail order them, and it's a couple of quid cheaper than just buying a warband from the store, because you don't get the cards and everything with it. But it's often worth doing, just because, well, the Underworld miniatures are usually gorgeous. And this is just, this is nice. And I want to know what the Weird Hollow
This
is.
is, I mean, even as as good as the Underworld sets are normally, this is something else.
This is absolutely
isn't it?
stunning. This is absolutely top notch. So more of this in the main AOS game, please.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm having a look at the
Yes,
moment
would
and
very much
don't
appreciate that.
see them, at least on the main website. If they
Okay.
have been done, it's not yet.
Right, okay.
Right. Bye.
I'll have a look another time. I'm not going to sit here and record myself looking through the Games Workshop catalogue.
I can do that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if I was going to do that, it would be like an old mail order catalogue, which I would look through and just
Yeah.
go, oh yeah, look at that. Oh man, do you remember when you could buy these? That'd be great. It'd be really boring listening, but I'd enjoy myself. Moving on then, next up we've got the human soldiers of the cities of Sigmar.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is interesting on a number of levels, because these guys, I get the impression these guys are going to have like a dual use. They look like they could also be used in the old world stuff.
I don't think they will.
know?
I think no.
No?
I think these guys are very much built to be AOS cities of Sigmar. The old world will be using the older kits. That's why they've retired the older kits.
Oh, really? Just the old ones?
I don't know. If
Oh,
they'll-
right.
I think they'll
okey-doke.
start off with the old ones, but I depending how well.
Yeah,
it does,
down the line.
I could see bigger pantaloons coming.
Get fucked.
Oh dear, hostilities.
Well, you mentioned pantaloons. It's
I wrote it on.
He
the
did, he did. That was kind of your own fault, weren't it, Andy, to be honest?
there are two
yeah.
things in the world I hate: intolerance and people who like pantaloons. But yeah, I like how absolutely dirty these guys are looking.
Yeah, there's a squalidness to them that I really actually like, that you never really got from like the old world Sigmarite stuff. They're always very clean, weren't they?
This
It's
is
the guy
only
with the,
three of probably a set of 20, I would assume.
Yeah.
Looking at the size of the
Yeah,
base.
and each one's different.
Yeah.
You know, each one is completely unique, which is really lovely.
It's the armor and everything on it. It really is. The guy with the eye patch. I can't help but
Fatty,
hear him.
fatty.
Yeah. I just hope that he talks like Baldric. That just.
The one with the chamber pot on his head.
I love him. I mean, outside of the guy in the middle, with the thing on top of his head, which looks very Bone Reaper, the two guys on the side.
Actually, it does look a bit Ossiarch, doesn't it?
There's a little bit of the Ossiarch in the design, to be honest, and I
I
find
was
that
thinking
really
these would
interesting.
make
Yeah.
way better Graveguard than the actual current Graveguard.
Yeah.
I
that's
just
what
chop
it
the
is.
heads off. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm
Yeah, chop the heads off, and
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're well away.
I'm with you on that one. But the two on the sides, on the far left and the far right, how much do they look like they've just walked out of the City Watch of Ankh-Morpork?
They really
Yeah.
do, don't they? I mean, there is a real sort of like, they're going very hard for almost like generic fantasy human soldiers here from a slightly darker fantasy world, you know?
And I'm okay with that. It's a really nice look, and I'm into it. I'm really into it.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff from City Sigmar, obviously, there's a long way to go before we're going to see it. I mean, what they actually got the roadmap, and it's Blades of Corn, Head Knights, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, Soulblight Gravelords, and then something else, then Seraphim, the Jungle's Handbook, something else in Cities of Sigmar, so it's towards the end of the year before we're
Yeah.
going to see them.
So it's quite a
What
while.
annoys
Yeah.
me about the Soulblight Gravelord code army book? What annoys
Yes.
me about it?
It's the same artwork as the last one
Yeah, it's
on the front.
Yep.
Is it? Is it
Exactly
the same
They
cover
did it for the
art?
fucking Nighthorns. They haven't done it for the Ossiarch
Ah,
Bone
no!
Reaper's got new artwork. Blades of
Yeah.
Corn
Yeah,
got new
I was gonna
artwork.
say, the Ossiarch's
Knights
got-
of Slanesh got new
Yeah,
artwork.
they did.
The Seraphon makes sense why they got new artwork, because they got a load of other things to talk about. But it's no Gravelords, you get the same shitty... Well, it's not shitty. That's hyperbolic. You get the same artwork. No difference. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Why? Why you be like
Yeah.
this to me?
Yeah. It would have been.
Yeah,
it's your
it's my
armies
thing.
as well. It happens to your
Yep.
armies all the time, doesn't it? It's a shame because I mean, I've no doubt it's going to be
Oh,
a good
sure, yeah.
book, right? But yeah, it would have been nice to have some new artwork, wouldn't it? If you could do it, I mean, like the Hedonites were released about the same time as the Soulblight Gravelords last time, so there's no reason why not,
No.
is there?
Yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. A bit of a kick in the pointy
As it
teeth.
were, in the fangs. Yeah.
I realised what I said when I said it.
Yeah. So, like, the cities of Sigmar are going to be a whole
Yes.
army, right? They're going to be a whole human army,
Well,
right?
kind of now.
And there are also going to be Duardin and
Yeah.
elves as well, presumably.
So there's something really interesting. I don't think it was in this one. No, it wasn't in this one. It was in another one. I apologise for the dog that you can hear barking outside. It's not mine. Yeah, it's not in this article. But there was an article that said that there isn't just humans, but all we're seeing at the moment is humans. So I am really, really hoping that we're going to see a couple of elves and Duardin who are dressed in a similar type of clothes.
I'd like one big orc.
Yeah,
One
I
big
hope
orc
so.
is there. That'd be fun.
Yeah. You know what? I'm totally with you, Andy. I would like one or two sort of like semi-civilized orcs or mercenary orcs who have sort of like filtered into civilization, D&D style. Go for it. Why not? Why not?
What I'm really, really hoping for is civilized ogres.
Yeah. Again.
Like that one from Curse City. Just get that aesthetic into the game. I would be fucking overjoyed.
To be fair, I mean, like in the old world, you had ogres in the human civilizations and settlements, so why not, Andy, I've just noticed, I'm looking at the roadmap, and you know what, just to make you feel a little better, neither the Hedonites nor the Ossiarchs are actually new covers. They're rather, the artwork has never been used for covers before, but it has been used in the books.
That's weird.
So it's not so bad. The Keeper of Secrets on the front of the Hedonites was one of the big splash pages in the old Hedonites book, and the picture of Catacross there was his picture from the previous Ossiarch Bone Reaper book in his profile. So it's not so bad.
I kind of wish then that they'd use something from the Soulblight Gravelord book and swap that around then.
Yeah, because there's plenty to choose from. They could have used.
Strange.
Yes, they could have used something. Yeah, it is odd. It's a bit weird, just to make it look a bit different, right? Oh well.
Catacross, the undefeated.
Not
the
once.
very defeated.
Yeah, constantly having his ass kicked. Just.
Someone painted him up to be the Black Knight from Monty Python.
That would be amusing.
Whenever I see him, I always think of a film called Burn Hollywood Burn, which stars Sylvester Stallone, Jackie Chan, and Whoopi Goldberg, right?
What
And
year?
it's
Okie
97.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was like a really
wow.
low budget film. It stars Eric Idle as a director who was. He's actually called Alan Smithy, right? That's his real name.
That's the level we're at. That's the level we're at with this.
And
Jeez,
it's an
God.
interview about a film that's meant to be so bad that Alan Smithy, the actual director with the actual name, stole everything from it and ran away with it. And he is in hiding, and everyone's trying to find him. That's the premise of the film. But there's a bit with Jackie Chan where Jackie Chan's like, he's just doing his martial arts during an interview, and he just goes, well, I'm immortal. I can't die. If I die in a film, that's not really me dying. I didn't die. But I don't never die in my films because I'm great. I cannot be killed. Thus, I cannot die. I am immortal. I cannot die. And that's how I see Krakodos, the undefeated.
Yeah.
Bit of a long-winded way to get there, but that explains the thought process that happens every time I see the Lord of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I think of Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
So, it's a Sigma. I think these armor designs are really cool. I think that Baldric over here may be my new favourite miniature of all time. I will never be able to paint him up to look as scummy as he does. Oh my god, I've just realised he's not Baldric, he's Nobby Knobs.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Yes. Yeah, he looks just like him, actually, doesn't
that's
he?
Nobby Knobs. Oh my god.
We have a Brian Blessed figure one day. That'd be fun.
What are the current...
What, Gotrek, you mean?
No, I just mean Brian Blessed. Yeah,
like
General
himself,
in the
the man himself.
I'd like that.
I mean,
yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
Oh man, if there's like a dwarf regiment that you can get for the Cities of Sigma and the leader looks like Brian Blessed, I will be the happiest man in the world. Alright. I mean, there's not much else we can really say about that. It's just they look good.
No, it's a nice preview. They look all right. You know, it's going to be interesting seeing how this armor shapes
and then
out.
we're suspecting what summer? No, autumn. Autumn's when the
autumn.
I would
that's
think
what the
autumn or
roadmap says. I
later
was
at this
just being
point.
dumb. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
Hey Andy, you're getting some new death.
Well,
You're
Yeah.
getting some brand new death. You're getting 2 whole new miniatures.
yeah.
Two miniatures. They're good
at least
miniatures.
they're
I
not in a
mean, you
box
know.
set where you have to buy
True,
the entire
true.
thing
No,
to get two,
I
two
mean-
new minis. So that's something.
And you know they're nice. I mean,
they're not for me. I mean, the Ossiarch Bone Reaper looks neat, but
No.
I said before I was never a big fan of the Russian aesthetic for the.
So you're not
No.
gonna like this one because they're going
She's got the big
hard
silly
for
hat.
it, aren't they?
It's
With
like,
this one,
if she didn't have the big silly
She's got
hat, I might
yeah.
be okay with it. I like the pose.
she looks like she could have stepped out of a Russian
Yeah.
folk tale. She really does, out of a grim Russian folk tale. She really does. It's such an interesting aesthetic to go for the
Well,
vampires
I mean, it's just
in
going
AOS.
with the Radigar and the other lady on the wolf, so it's just
Yeah.
like, it's just leaning into that. It's not a bad figure at all. I really like the bats silhouetting behind her. That looks cool. I like the pose on the bit of twig. That's nice. It's just look at that now. Damn it.
Just
No.
not
And
your
I suppose
aesthetic, right?
Is this? Do we know if this is going to play any different from a normal vampire? Because it is just she is named.
Yeah, she is.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
a special character, isn't she? Evia Volga. She's part of the Verkos, so she is one of the sort of lupine ones. But her whole shtick is that because I mean, this is something that has been mentioned in their background, but has never really been emphasized as much in the miniatures, which is it's not just werewolves. They emphasize animal totems. So whatever animal they happen is their particular totem. That's what they become, or that's where their powers derive from. And with her,
let
it's
me be a
bats.
tit for a second, okay? Let me be a twat. Do you think she was meant to be in the expansion for Curse City?
Yes.
Because most of the vampire lords have been.
she looks
most
like-
of them
Yes.
have been. So
Yes.
is she?
She looks like that's almost certainly the case. There's something about her that just shrieks
Kinda,
that.
that's
As
why I
it's,
asked. I looked and I went, oh no.
yeah,
My guess would be that she was meant to be in something that we haven't seen and will never see.
Are you sure? It could have just been in the last pack.
She would have been named if it'd been in the last pack.
I mean, they took out. Oh, you mean she would have had a detail card or something?
Yeah. There would have been something in there that would have had a name in.
actually,
Yeah.
that's a
I
fair
would say
point.
they might
That's a
take
fair
that out
point.
because she might not have been ready for release or something potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible.
Just because of
possible.
how the Cursed City
It's
was,
hard to
and
say.
anything could be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to say, but she fits the aesthetic definitely,
And
doesn't
she
she?
would
I
have
mean,
looked
the
nice
only
next to
thing-
Radigar, so I could have seen like a consort or
Yeah.
something.
It is really interesting that they're going really like hard on the Verkos, you know, being like almost like the principal aesthetic for the new vampires as well. That I find that really interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like them. I really like the Verkos as a bloodline. I think they're really fascinating. The fact that they are a type of vampirism that's entirely separate from Nagash, for example, that is. They're a vampirism that derives from the magic of the realms itself.
That's correct.
Which I
I reckon
that.
it would be nice if they could do an upgrade set for the. You do a pack of crypt horrors or whatever, but you take away some of the pieces, or you put a new sprue in that lets them become more wolf-kindy. So then you can make them Verkosy.
That would be nice.
And that would be quite nice.
Yeah.
Keep them the same
that'd be
price. You just
lovely.
throw a small extra sprue in there. Again, they never would because that would be extra stuff. But I think that'd be good.
Yup. Make them
Yeah.
more lupine, so you've got it would work, wouldn't it? So you've got troops that are more in keeping,
instead of them just being
with the way the
crypt
characters
horrors,
look.
they'd look more. They'd
Yes.
look more specific for the Verkos. If you wanted to keep them crypt horrors, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you could have them more wolf-kind as well.
Yeah, that would work nicely actually.
I've got 2 things here which I think might change your opinion slightly on
My
Little
opinion?
Wolf Lady here. Yeah.
I doubt it, but okay, let's roll.
Number 1, I think that hat is a separate piece.
Oh, I'd be surprised.
Really, that's
I think it is. From the way it sits, I think that is a separate piece. The head goes in, then the hat is in 2 halves, goes together, and then goes down.
Oh, I don't know.
That is my guess.
I'd need.
So we'll see. We'll see.
do you not think
the
some
other
of those
thing,
bats are attached
Well,
to
you
the
think-
hat?
Oh yeah. So there'll be bits of bat that.
Yes, actually, the bats are attached to the hat.
Absolutely, yeah. But what I'm meaning is there might be a way of building her with a little bit of snip
Well, like
without the hat.
An alternative build, yeah.
So Andy could just like put a wig on or
Yes,
have a bowl.
hair is known to be very easy to sculpt.
Yeah, it's just like long, thin lines, isn't it?
Oh my God.
That's all it
Just
is.
make small sausages and stick it on a head. Boom.
Yeah, make a wormy dealy, as north of the border always says. And the other thing is, if you had this one and the red-headed vampire lady
I have that one.
a couple of years back,
Vampire Lord, she's good.
what you could do is you could have them standing next to each other on a diorama, and one is sending the bats to steal the other one's comb, and just way. And I think that would be a really good little diorama you could make.
That's not a diorama I would make, but it's interesting.
No. They really do have to do an article about like which of the vampire miniatures has the best hair at this point, because they all have like the most interesting hair sculpts.
It's true, yeah. I'm looking at this picture that's further down of all of the Soul Blight. They just look great, don't they?
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, it's a lovely army. It's aesthetically, it looks amazing, and I just love the fact that they've kind of like gone full circle with the undead in general. Like you had this shift in emphasis towards the vampires in Fantasy Battle as well, and I kind of like it because I did the vampires. I just love in the undead.
But I think when it comes to Warhammer, if it's not vampires, it has to be crotchety old men. And if it's either of those, I'm not interested. I don't want. I don't want stinky, young-looking people. I want them to look like they've been run over by a tire a couple of times.
What do we think of the the Mortisan Ossifector?
I mean, it's a dynamic sculpt.
It's really dynamic, isn't it? I mean, like I kind of love like the fact that he's floating and that he's putting together one of Nagash's sort of pseudo-angelic monsters, isn't it?
It's a weird one. There's nothing bad about it in any way, shape, or form. It is a brilliant sculpt. It is the level of talent that's gone to it is superb. I like a lot of things about it. The head reminds me of the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Yes.
Which makes me laugh. And I like the little handprint that he's got on his armour. I think that's quite cool.
Oh, yeah.
But there's something about the Bone Reapers that doesn't work for me, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's not your thing.
No,
yeah.
I've said it's not the infantry's great. A lot of the heroes are great, but everything else I hate. Visually, I don't think it's badly made. It's just not my aesthetic again.
No,
just not your
I don't
aesthetic.
like the horses.
Yeah.
I hate the weird golem creature things with the three faces. They're just not my jam.
Oh, the
quintessence.
Yeah, the quintessence.
I think if you painted them so they started like where the bones are, instead of the bones being bone, if they were black that turned into a glowing green, I'd probably quite like them as being more spectral.
Yeah.
But I mean, I even like them as an army. I like the concept behind them. Either give us the toe bones of every person in your village over the age of 12, or we're going to come back and take all the bones. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
The Vulture Lord, which is the only novel I've read with the Ossiarchs in, they're terrifying, like legitimately terrifying. But no, I can't get away with them.
They need some archers as well. We've got one archer from like the underworlds, and there's no reason why these guys can't be archers since they're sentient. And it would make them a bit
absolutely.
different.
They're more sentient. Yeah, they're more sentient than most undead, aren't they? So there's no reason why not.
Yeah,
and
their big model is a catapult, which I also don't really like the look of.
Yeah, it's essentially the old screaming skull.
I kind of
catapult,
wish they had some like
upgraded.
that wasn't their big expensive thing. I wish that was more of like the price of a horses or something like that. And we had some other like you know the thing with the big cage on its back. Make that even.
Oh, the Gothazar harvester,
bigger, and make that your really big thing rather than a catapult. Yeah.
Than a catapult, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the creeping catapult and the fact he's got lots of little legs. I think that's really cute.
But I mean, I even like the angel dudes, and the harvester is a gorgeous model.
Yes, I like them.
I'm with you on the horses, Andy, because I think I think there should have been something else. If they had been like 6-legged, lower-headed slung things,
Not
maybe.
horses. You could make them into anything. Maybe not.
Yeah,
horse.
maybe something else. Yeah, something a bit
they've all
more
got-
interesting.
Oh,
Because of course, I mean,
hands. They're on
the whole
giant
thing.
skeleton hands.
you know.
That'd be fun.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that'd be great. Yeah, I mean, you could sculpting.
Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Great, big crawling skeletal
Yeah.
hands. Yeah, and they sit on the severed wrists.
Maybe you don't
yeah?
even have it that they
Great
sit
idea.
on them. Maybe you have them so they're a little bit like the Necron destroyers, so they're built into them. Yeah.
Oh, like centauroid almost. So they like the torso comes out of the
That'd be
wrist.
fun.
That's what a lovely idea, and slightly horror based
yeah,
as well.
because
I
it'd
like
be
that.
scuttling.
I
It
like
would make
that a lot.
everybody just go. Ugh. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, love it. Love it to bits.
I'm all in.
What a great
I
idea.
am all in for that as a concept. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's something that's almost got to be done. You know, someone out there, whoever collects the
Get in
Ossiarch,
contact with
go
me. We
go
can
do
we
it.
can spin
Ideas.
some,
Free
I can spin
ideas,
some ideas
yeah.
with undead stuff with you if you like.
That's the thing with the
You
Ossiarchs,
can
though,
make them
because
into anything.
they really. Yes, they need to push that idea again because they literally sculpt the bone, you know. They don't just assemble things out of, like, individual bones. The bone is shaped, it's transformed, it runs like wax, you know. So they can look almost like
Just looking
anything.
forward to like a very future release where there's a Wraithbone reference from Nagash. How did you make these guys? Oh, I found this
That'd be
little
nice.
organ in a spaceship.
The Skaven
Right.
brought me it.
I killed a Skaven.
Yeah, yeah,
Thing, and I went, oh, this is weird. I'll have this. Mine.
So
Yeah.
the Skaven came around and fucked up the Black Pyramid again.
Yep,
They left something behind.
Yeah, definitely not the first time in history, is it?
I love the fact that the Skaven just accidentally managed to fuck up Nagash's plans a second time. It's just so
Again.
good. It's just so good. It's just like
Yeah. There's a certain poetry to it, isn't there? Which
I
I,
like the
really
idea.
I like the
that,
idea.
There was like a tweet or like a little Instagram message that the Horned Rat just sent him that just said, haha.
Haha.
Yeah,
LOL.
Lamau. Lamau.
Lamau, yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
Horned Rat.
I
What a bastard.
I like the idea that there being some kind of like natural balance in place that when Nagash gets too strong, the Skaven have to come in and just like entropy the fuck out
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah. It seems to be the case, doesn't it? It just seems to
Yeah,
happen.
it's like I will live a cold on life, full of order, and Nagash is the word. And it's just the Skaven go, what? I'm sorry, I turned around and now your house is on fire.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Skaven falls
It's-
into the gear system and the machine explodes.
Yeah, that's exactly
Oh,
it.
it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It makes me happy. But yeah, so 2 new miniatures for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers and the Soulblight Grave Lords, which is all rather nice. Now the big one for AOS.
Yeah, this is great.
Oh yeah. I mean, who's shocked by this, right? I'm a bit shocked.
I'm
I'll
shocked.
be honest. I'm a bit
shocked by how little
surprised.
fanfare it's got. You mentioned fanfare earlier, and I think this is just
Yeah.
be like, we're doing
This
Seraphon.
so
We're doing some
deserves loads. I mean, it's a massive rehaul of pretty much the
Yeah.
whole range,
Yeah.
They
right?
needed to, bless them.
And not only that, it's
Really good.
good. It's so good. There's not a miniature here I don't.
I'm
like.
going to take umbrage with the word good, because what I'm going to actually say here, and Christopher, I hope your ears are pricking up. Are you ready? These are excellent. These are
Yeah, they are.
absolute. They have smashed it out of the park when it comes to the Seraphon.
Out of the park. I love these guys, and I've never been that interested in the Seraphon. I'll be perfectly honest. These guys, love
Yeah,
them. I absolutely love them. These Croxigor rider guys who are sort of on the Deinonychus dinosaurs. Oh my god. The Agrodon Lancers. They're wonderful.
they're insanely good. The big Croxigors that have the alligator heads are just perfect. They are, what are they called?
Yeah.
The warp spawned. Yeah, these guys, they are immense.
Oh my god, aren't they
I told
good?
Dave
That's incredible.
on Friday when I saw him. Originally, I was really annoyed by the Croxagores because I was like, "Oh, where's the crocodile heads?" And then I scrolled down just a few seconds more. I went,
And
"Oh,
then
never
you
mind,
scroll
I'll shut up."
down.
They're there. That's,
I'll shut up
that's
now,
like
right?
good.
Yeah.
Because I would have been sad if they didn't have the
Don't-
crocodile heads. Because to me that's a Croxagore, and they gave it.
Yeah.
Don't they look good? I mean, they just look wonderful. They look like crocodiles, right? Which is a great aesthetic for anything, quite
Agreed.
frankly. I would love to paint one with like a big Indiana Jones hat and call him Leatherhead. You know?
I'd be down for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my god, I'm just looking through. There is not one I dislike. There is not a miniature in this
Is-
I dislike, and there's most
Is
of
the
them are
box
amazing.
set technically full of new models? Because the Slan is also relatively new, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty new. He came,
Because that came
definitely.
out a while
So
ago.
yeah, it looks
but
like it.
I wasn't sure if it was an old one or like what. But
About-
it's like,
about
wow,
a
that's
year.
good set.
He's
That's new.
about-
That's new. No, in
Yeah.
GW terms, that's
Yeah,
new.
so it's new. Yeah, it's
The only
new.
bad
Right?
thing about the
everything-
box set is it doesn't come with any Croxagores, and I'd want the Croxagores.
No,
Yeah.
that's
And
a
it's got the
shame.
skink riders instead of the
'Cause-
the other cold one
Yeah.
riders. I'm gonna call them cold one riders. 'Cause I know. But it's a really good box set. If you want if you want
It's
the
lovely,
Necro
isn't
stuff,
it?
this is I mean he's getting it. He's
Oh yeah.
There's no way he's not.
Oh
getting it.
yeah, I mean, my
No way.
god.
If he sends
I
a
mean,
message and say,
I
"Andy, I'm not
want it."
getting this," I'll be like, "Don't lie, don't lie."
Yeah. and what about the box itself, guys? As well. I mean,
Oh, the
isn't
artwork
it
on
lovely?
it, yeah, it's great.
Isn't it a lovely
I'd be
thing?
gorgeous.
happy. And I think that looks. If I'm honest, that looks a little bit cooler for the Battle Tome image than what they
Yeah.
actually use for the Battle Tome image. I think this is what I would have picked myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
me
because
too.
you got two characters,
Me
you
too.
got like
'Cause-
Sauruses looking at a big slan in the background.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is a bit more dynamic-y as well than just. It's just a Saurus of some description that we saw, wasn't it, on the for
Yeah.
the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the champion Saurus
it's
guys,
fine. This
isn't
is
it? Yeah.
better. Oh, this would have been my choice at least.
The one I really like is the Scar Veteran on Agate. I
Yeah.
love him. I think that's a fabulous piece of work, and I love the fact that they've painted him like a pale
Right.
sort of pinky white as well to look like
pale
scar tissue.
rider.
Yeah,
The pale orc.
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's got that element to him.
I love the
Who's he a
dinosaurs.
reference to? Because there is a white Saurus in Total War Warhammer. What's his name? Crap.
Grimlock.
No, that's the T-Rex that one of them rides.
That's the
Oh,
T-Rex. Yeah.
I thought that was the rider, but no, that's the actual
He
dinosaur.
was a special
was.
character in one of the older
He's actually
Seraphon
pretty
books.
good.
But I think back when they were
Yeah.
lizard men, you know.
It's annoying.
I think that's what he's a
Yeah,
reference
he's
to.
one of those units I know because he's one of the hero classes and he's
Yeah.
he's solid.
Yeah, yeah. But my god, it's just everything. The Croxagores, I think the Croxagores are great. All of them, the ones with the crocodile heads and the ones
Yeah,
that
the
don't.
Mosaurian heads.
The one with the big sort of the magical mace. I mean, that's awesome,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a single thing in this release that I would say I don't really, really like, and I never thought there'd be a day where I would go, you know what? I really want some lizard men.
There was at one point in time when you got a
Yeah,
box set.
I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah,
remember.
yes, yeah. Because I was picking them up for Abby
That's
because I
right.
was going to try and get Abby involved, and I thought dinosaurs,
Yeah.
dinosaurs would be the thing that got her in. But
dinosaurs
You know
riding
what
dinosaurs.
You could do?
Yeah,
You could just lie to yourself and say that this will work this time. It'll work this time.
yeah, right.
Will it? Let's say yes.
no,
Do, 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 do.
I mean, yeah, just look at them.
Knock it down.
Amazing, yeah. It's an amazing
Yeah.
range. I mean, it's hard to know what to say, isn't it? I mean, they are brilliant.
They're absolutely superb. That box set's a decent box set for what you get. And yes, I agree. The lack of Croxagore is painful, but you wouldn't be able to fit them in there.
Yeah.
Not with a Slant Star Master.
Right, right.
The new Seraphon themselves, the lizard men, they look superb. The Sauruses, they look superb. They're such an amazing glow up from the original. Well, not the original, but the last set we had, which I always thought looked a bit
Yeah.
weakly. But these guys, they are beasts, absolute beasts.
Yeah.
And it does annoy me of how good they look because we've had like nothing for such a long time. The last things we had were giants and dragons, as far as I remember, and they were just like such. They were not even full releases. They were half releases, if that.
No, they were half releases.
And it's like,
that's absolutely
look at
true.
these.
You're
These
right.
look so good, and like we've had to.
This is what
we've
we're
had to sit in the
capable of,
mire
right? This is what we can
nothingness,
do.
And then it's like, oh, here you go.
Hey Adam, can you imagine if as and when they do this for the Skaven?
I will explode in a explosion of bite-sized Milky Way bars and confetti. Because, oh god, if you could get the Clan Rats and Storm Vermin into this kind of dynamic release and these kind of looks, I would be absolutely overjoyed. Because the only reason I don't have a Skaven army is fuck those Clan Rats.
Right, yeah. I mean, you are using all of the mostly old miniatures from the Fantasy Battle system that are
the only stuff that's the newest
old.
stuff that's in the Skaven army is the Warplock Bombardier.
Yep.
Really
good.
And he is. He's absolutely brilliant. The Thankwall that came out for the End Times.
For the End Times. So that was
the
a
Storm
while
Fiend
back.
And
unit.
technically some Underworld warbands if you want to
And
throw them in.
Yes,
Which again
some
is
of
one of
the-
those like
yeah.
kicking in the jubblies because you're like, wow, look at how good these are. Look at how good the Blood Bowl
Look at
team
what
is.
they could be doing. Yeah, look at what they could
I
be
was saying
doing.
this to you on Saturday, though, wasn't there? Yeah, the only way I'd want to do it is if I kept buying that Blood Bowl team and trying to make the Clan Rats out of them.
And that's not a good idea.
Oh,
That's stupid, is what it is.
And
It's stupid.
And we still got the Shadow Dark Elves to go as well, which we've only had a Warcry
Yeah.
set for.
Correct,
That's
yeah.
it.
that's
else.
right. That's right.
That's
the
it. I'll never remember
Umbraneth.
that name.
The Umbraneth. Yeah, I mean, there's always little simmering rumors about them, always just underneath the surface. Because of course that's also only one of the original gods that hasn't been released,
Malekith,
right?
Or Malarion, as he is now.
Malekith, yeah. Or Malarion as he is now. Yeah, absolutely. Only exists in the
I'm sure
background.
people are
at the
sick of
moment.
us like always
So-
complaining about AOS, but when I think it's justified when you see like this, and you go, where's the rest?
Yeah.
Of it?
I will say this: our complaint
Yes.
comes from love, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It comes from the fact that there's so much good going on here that we want it to be good across the board.
But
right?
every time AOS releases something, it is extraordinarily good. You know,
Right? It's
and that's the frustrating part, that the release schedule seems to be really slow, and there's never a massive amount of fanfare, and it's just
it needs more sort of like wow, whoa, yeah. It needs that sort of like Games Workshop just trumpeting it to the heavens.
The
Because
thing
Right?
this
about
stuff
AOS,
is-
they don't just constantly push. I know we complained about it earlier, but they don't just push the Stormcast.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the degree of like Space
Yeah.
Marines. It's just
No.
we got a
No,
lot at the
you're
beginning because they were getting the third edition glow.
They were
fair
the-
enough. Okay, fine.
Right.
After that,
Absolutely,
we left in the
fair
dust. It's
enough.
been, okay, well, granted we do the dragons and the giants, but then here's this. Let's keep
Yeah.
going. Show
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the Skaven.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy the Skaven. Let's do the Gloom Spikes properly. Let's fix the Fire Starters, Fire Slayers.
Slayers.
Fire-
The fire starters.
Let's fix them because they're broken. No one wants them. I don't think anyone wants to play
Yeah.
as them. Me and Gruff looked at their box set, and Gruff said, "What's in this box set?" And I went, "Oh, is that 2 different units?" And it's like, "Oh, yep, that's it." And that was pretty much the entire
much.
range.
Yeah.
There's like 4
Yeah.
things. Or
That's
something
true.
stupid. They
It's
need,
like
need
you-
to be fixed.
That's true.
You look at the
Yes.
the AOS centric armies, the stuff that's been done for AOS, and you've got the Country Overlords. The Fire Slayers are probably the weakest of them. The Stormcast, you've got the Seraphon now having a real glow up. The Cities of Sigmar look like they're going to be a really nice set. The Soulblight Gravelords,
Slaves to Darkness had a massive glow up recently. The Blades of Corn,
And it-
the Disciples of Zeech, the Hedonites.
and it's just a really weird feeling. You do kind of feel like things are flapping in the wind.
Well, with Zinj,
but-
with the Disciples of Zinj, I don't feel they're flushed out fully. I don't feel the Maggot King are flushed out fully. The Hedonites are, the Blades of Corn are. there is something there for the Disciples of Zinj, but I don't think from what I look at, it's not a full range. You don't look and go there's a full army. It's like it's a small warband, a skirmish. You've got some human guys, some Zangors. You got a big Minotaur dude, and then you got a few other little bits here and there. But there's not like a lot of big things where you go, oh, look at that army. Same for the Maggot King.
Yeah. I think the Maggot King come out of it slightly better, to be honest. Just because they've got that.
Although, to be fair, like the Disciples of Zinj, they do have like one of the best books in the game. Have you seen like they've been like at the top of the league tables for like forever, like forever.
When I'm saying they're not a full army, it's
no the miniatures
idea.
range.
I'm saying that is. They need demons to supplement them to fill out their roster. The Blades don't. True, yeah. They've got a full army on their own. You can obviously add them.
It's true. It's true.
And the Heat Knights again have a full set where you don't need to add stuff to them.
Yeah. No, it's true. There's more mortal.
And that's what they should be. They should be supplemented by demons rather than.
You know what the Disciples need? They need like their Knight equivalent or their Chaos Warrior equivalent. All the others have got them. The Maggot Kin have got them. The Hedonites have got those wonderful, what are they called? The Myrmidesh.
Oh, yep.
That's right.
Painbringers, Wonderful. Here we are, Myrmidesh Painbringers and Simbaresh Twin Souls. So they've got, they've actually got a load of mortal units. Blissbarb Archers, they've got Hellstriders, 2 units of Hellstriders, Slickblade Seekers, Blissbarb Seekers. They've got their Slangor, of course, So I could definitely see where you're coming from. There's there's the different Zangor units that kind of fill out the mortal side, but again, it's not quite the same, is it? You want like a Chaos Warrior equivalent for
and you
Zeech,
can
right?
have them. We've seen them in the past with the Chosen, where they were in the blue armor and they had like a barrier and stuff and the disc riders and stuff. So
exactly. I'd love to see that. Yeah, absolutely.
You can do it. I believe in you.
It can be done. It can definitely. Don't get me wrong. I love the mortal units for the Disciples of Zinj that do exist. Those weird little cultists. I can't remember
with
what they're
really
called
nice
off the top of my
fancy
head. That
shields
fling fireballs.
And the bird helmets.
Yay!
They're great.
That's it. I love them. I love them to bits, and they kick ass as well. They are one of those annoying units because they've got a long range ability, which is just in AOS. That is like massed firepower in AOS is like gold dust. It is rare.
Hey guys.
Hello.
I think we've spoken a lot about the Mortal Realms, but it's
we have.
It's time for Adam to get excited.
Oh yes, and me too. To be honest, this is really interesting, right? This is really interesting. We've got the brilliant Votann kill team, absolutely beautiful. I love the way they've painted them up as well. The orange is really lovely.
It's really really nice. I like the orange on the jetpack guy with the flying goggles. I think he may be my new favourite person ever. But it's not just the Votann. I love the look of these Votann. These creatures look great. I love them to bits. But they're up against
this is something else.
40k Beastmen.
Fucking 40k Beastmen. We've had suggestions of it in Necromunda, right? The fact that they were just bringing Beastmen back into 40k outside of Zinj, where they've always been. Actual proper 40k Beastmen for the first time, arguably since Realms of Chaos, since like the Slaves to Darkness days.
Absolutely.
Right?
So we had them turn up as a unit type in Blackstone Fortress.
Yep, Blackstone Fortress, definitely.
Look at these guys.
These guys are. This is what they can do with Beastmen now.
Fucking Beasts of Chaos look real shit, don't they?
These guys are scary as fuck, right? They don't look goofy. They don't look sort of like cartoon Beastmen. They look like horror. They are really scary looking, and the ones that have got cybernetic bits. Oh my god, I love it. The one that's charging forward with the cybernetic fist and the cybernetic eye, and he's holding a bolt pistol as well. Bloody hell!
Why does the one with the gas mask have the little thing to calm bees down?
I don't know. He's a Beastman apiarist, I don't know. But oh my god, these guys are cool, aren't they? These guys are
And if you're
bloody
listening
hell,
to
they're
Siege
good.
of Terror, you know that they're used in the Horus Heresy as well. So if you wanted,
Yep.
you could probably use them in that system. It'd be appropriate.
Oh yes, that wouldn't surprise me.
They're really
Yeah, it
really
would.
tragic
It absolutely
in
would.
the Siege of Terror book as well, where they talked about. I'm like, no,
Well,
Yeah,
Beastmen are really tragic in 40k full stop.
yeah,
they kind of are full stop, aren't they? Because there was a time when they were actually allowed in the Imperial
had
Guard,
Imperial
weren't they,
Beastmen,
once
yeah.
upon a time. Yeah, you did once, but since then they've been consigned as like a non-sanctioned abhuman, right?
Unlike, as I've recently discovered, cat ladies, who are a sanctioned mutation.
really?
Those are sanctioned.
Yep, there is
mutation,
a
are they?
sanctioned race called the Philinids, who are cat people.
Not to get confused with the Tyranids.
Oh.
That's not a
No,
mistake
no.
you want to make.
No,
No, so
no,
Oh,
definitely
you got
think,
not.
Philinids? Yeah, loads of them. You better come here and
Yeah.
help us. Oh, this wasn't what I signed up for.
And then you find out it's a
Yeah.
gene
Oh,
stealing
well,
race,
yeah.
right?
yeah, I think Inquisitor Weeb was on duty that day when those guys got sanctioned.
Yeah, clearly.
So, oh god. But anyhow,
Are they all cat
a
ladies?
majority are, yes.
I'm not fucking interested.
Well, to be fair, George, you're not interested in a cat boy either. Not with a barbed cock. You don't want that.
That's true.
I mean, you might be into.
No,
Some people
no.
might be into that. You know,
Some people
I'm
might.
saying your internal
no.
organs would be not happy with you. There's a reason why cats
You see,
scream
it's-
while having sex.
right.
Yeah.
This is it. It's the medical care that comes
Yes.
after. It's a bit
If
prohibitive,
you like
isn't
cat
it? You know.
boys, you might be a Slaneshi cultist. Is all I'm saying. Or you're in
might,
the
yes.
making. You know, and that's fine.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, there's a shaman as well. There's a Zandor. There's a shaman guy here.
Yeah, he looks like he looks like the ones from Total War Warhammer with the little cowl
He's
over,
awesome.
over his head.
Yep.
I want
Yeah, he's quite scary
I want
looking,
someone
isn't
to
he? You
paint
know?
up that cowl to look like a T-shirt that someone got from like Disney World.
He's just torn up and put
I-
over him as a
this- I
cowl.
wear
Yeah, I like
T-shirt.
that.
I love Mickey Mouse. Won't go over body. Sit on
I've got a couple of little pointers here for. There's something we've talked about a lot over the years, which is how the miniatures tell a story, and these beastmen
Yeah.
tell many stories. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. That fucking shaman, he looks like he just walked out of some 80s dark fantasy movie, and I love him. I expect him to chase the time bandits without anyone really knowing where he's coming from. But have you noticed that a lot of them seem to have the cybernetic plugs into their flesh?
Yes. Yes.
Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, that suggests that they were being used as like workers or as
Yep.
slaves or something
Yep.
like that, right? At some
Tells a
point,
really, really good story.
makes you wonder where they're from, right? Some from the underclass,
Oh, yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
I fucking love these guys.
These are amazing. I mean, they are just flat out stunning
There's-
miniatures. They are stunning, and like you said, they could be doing this in AOS where there's an actual fucking Beastman army.
Yeah.
There's a guy here with 3 arms, and he screams the Old Realm of Chaos books at me. Like,
Definitely. yeah.
he is so a updated concept from the late 80s. It's just
Yeah,
Give
totally.
him a little more arm and scale him up, and he could easily be one of the really big Minotaur things, whatever they're called. What are they called?
gone.
Oh, the sort of
Is that-
Gorgon
yeah, I can't remember
things.
the
Yeah,
fantasy name, but
one of them's called a Gorgon, and the other one, the one with the one eye, is something else. I
Cygor.
can't remember what
Yeah.
that one is. Cygor, that's right, Cygor.
Not to be mixed up with any Todd McFarlane creations.
no.
No, slightly different.
Oh, God.
But no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And also, what does this suggest? Beastmen are coming back into 40k.
I'd hope so.
Yes.
Like, I've gotta
Yes.
say, I think
Yes.
they completely dominate compared to the squats. To me, the Votan to me, they look fine, but they just look like more Votan.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
nothing
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
special.
yeah, I get exactly what you mean. They're
Yeah.
more Votan, aren't they? They are more Votan. They're great. They're really lovely miniatures, but
Yeah.
they're more Votan. These guys, these are exciting.
Yeah. And if you told me that there'd be a Squat versus Beastmen box set, and I would be
Right.
going hell for leather for the Beastmen, I wouldn't believe you. But I am. I mean,
Yeah.
not to say that the Squats aren't good. The Squats are superb.
They're great. They're absolutely
fucking adore
brilliant.
the guy that looks like he's just about to punch everybody out in a 5-mile radius. Yeah,
What?
it's. I don't need a gun. I've got my fists. I've got my little knuckle dusters. I'm just gonna fuck you up. And the fact that he's got a 1800s Victorian strongman beard makes him so much better. And I love him. And the fact that there's a guy with a little bandana and a Texas trucker mustache, and there's an Ironkin, and I love the Ironkin.
Yeah, there's a little Ironkin who's got like a data slate. I love him. He's brilliant.
And he's telling everybody where to put things down.
Yeah, I love that. That is
a really
fabulous.
Shitty idea that I would have liked to have seen this set do instead. We get rid of the Votan, right? What are the monkeys called?
Jokero.
Yeah. We
The
call
Jokero.
They do the Jokero. We style them after Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. And we call the box set Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Beast Wars. Oh, so
I-
good.
I like the idea because I like the monkeys versus Goatman in space. Especially with one of the monkeys just wearing like a captain's cap and having a pistol with a stogie in his hand.
I mean, if I ever find any STLs of some monkeys, I'll make you that. But yeah, honestly, I don't really want to like just bang on about the Beastmen. So the squads are great. I like the fact that
Look how good
the
the
commander
board
of the
is as
squads.
well.
I know.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?
It's everything. This release is really good.
Is anybody in the
It's
Fluffenhammer
actually-
buying all of these sets and just making one giant ship out of interest?
I hope so.
I mean, that would
Yeah.
be phenomenally cool if they are.
A
Bloody
Have you
hell.
noticed
a four-player boarding actions game would be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Four different entrances to the ship. You all have to get to one point, or each person has a different objective to do while kind of intersecting with the other things. That'd be
Yes.
Andy, that's called Space Crusade.
fun. Oh, well, there we go. Okay.
That's Space Crusade, effectively. Yeah. That's Space
I
Crusade.
didn't know, honestly.
But it's also boarding actions, because it's boarding actions is effectively Space Crusade without being Space Crusade.
I like the happy little skeleton that's sitting in the.
I love that. That's so cool. And the little one-man drop pods. What's that about?
Little escape pods, and you've got like.
The dentist's
well-
chair.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the scenery that comes with this kill team.
So
It's
fun.
Does
really
anybody
good.
recognise it?
What specifically? Do you mean the
so-
board or the pieces?
What are we
or
looking
which
for?
part?
Yeah, the pieces which have the little area, the surgical tools and all that
things.
type of thing.
Well, it makes me
'Cause
think
if
of oh god, what's it called? This movie with Sam Neill,
It makes...
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon. Yeah, especially
Yeah.
especially
Event
the
Horizon,
table,
oh
the
my
surgical
Yeah,
God.
table.
yeah.
Oh,
Do you know
dear.
why that is? Because that's what it
I
is.
thought so.
Oh, is it modeled after that?
Yes.
Oh, no way. No way. Somebody gets their influences. I love
And
it.
that has made me
Fabulous.
so incredibly happy.
Good man.
All
Good
it
man.
needs is a little blue tent to go over the top of it and a
Yes.
boy with maggots crawling
Yeah.
in his cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Which, shouldn't be that hard to model.
Oh, someone needs to make a
No.
blood chamber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the idea of playing games of Kill Dark on the Event Horizon. That,
Yeah, that would be awesome, right?
that makes me happy because we've almost hit full circle with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Given that most people like, a lot of people like headcanon that Event Horizon is sort of a proto 40k film anyway.
Yep. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
That's what a great set. I mean, that's a smashing set.
No, it really is. This board is beautiful. The miniatures that come with it. I mean, Kill Team have been smashing out the park for a while now. These boxes have been absolutely superb, but this one just really gets me. This is, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good one. It's a very good one. It is.
Aye, it makes me happy. It all makes me happy. Speaking of things that make me happy, let's move to something that doesn't. So the Horus Heresy is getting a new campaign box.
Yeah, I mean, the campaign books are really good for Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
They are chock full of like the most amazing. They're very expensive, but they are full of really like if you're into sort of like your war campaigns, that are just minutely detailed. These books are phenomenally good. That said, it's kind of a limited thing, isn't it? You know, you're either interested or you're not. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and the Horus Heresy, I really enjoy the novels. I'm not that interested in playing the games.
Neither me. I'm more interested in what's happening now with, you know, in the present day of the 40k
Yeah, I like
universe.
a lot of the models. Like, I like the Contemptor Dreadnought. It's probably my favourite Dreadnought. Like, I like the silly box.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, if you're not going for, like, just, like, nostalgia, like, the Contemptor is my favourite. I like the shape of it. It looks more plausible, in quotations, for, like, a design instead of, let's just put him in a lunchbox, he's dead.
Let's just put them in a big cardboard box and send them off.
I'm never been a fan of the Redemptor. Is that the Primaris one? Redemptor, whatever? I think this looks a lot better. Look more interesting. And same for the old school armor. I kind of like the Mark III armor. It looks retro.
Yeah, it is very
cool.
cool.
Like that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of what goes on in Horus Heresy, and I think it's a lovely option, you know, for people who want to play games in that particular setting. It's not really for me. I like the background. I love the background stuff, but I'm not that interested in playing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, the miniatures are gorgeous, and that box set that came out this year, whenever it was.
Last year,
yeah. The minis of that are absolutely spot on, just
very
lovely.
nice. And some of the Legion specific stuff is out of this world. I mean, like, I always look at like the Night Lord's Terminators. I've got like the butcher's aprons and the bones, and they're so damn good.
Is it just me, or does the photo with the Dreadnought and the Marines going down the alleyway just look a little weird?
I think it's because of like how old the Terminator is, because he looks very small and fat.
Yeah.
Compared to how he should be taller and wider, probably. But
yeah.
I don't know if there's just like something weird going on with the Force perspective or something, but
there is something weird about the perspective, and it is all to do with the Terminator. I think Andy's right. There's something to do with the Terminator. He looks really, 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 really little.
Look at the feet.
What?
Look at his feet. I don't think he was in the photo. I think he's been superimposed later. I think that's what it is.
Are you sure? Because it looks like there might be like glue or something around the bottom of his foot, because it looks stretched out. There's like an end to it.
There's like the foot in the background. It looks like it's not quite touching the ground. If you understand what.
Yeah. It looks like his toes touching, but that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. There's something about it.
Yeah. No,
it just
definitely.
looks odd. Also, looks like his face is doing that like late 90s effect where faces just merge and scream. Anyway, moving on.
We got a big one. Did anyone expect this?
Well, the rumours were going on for a while.
The rumours have been going around for a bit that the Lion is coming back.
So, Lionel Corbin has arrived.
Wow. He has indeed. And this is like the big reveal from the end of the Arcs of Omen and the end of Ninth Ed, right? The Lion, the second loyalist, quote-unquote, Primarch, has returned. He's woken up from his millennia-long nap. Probably a bit cranky, especially since Gilliman looks so good in comparison to him. It's
love that joke. That joke has made me so happy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the meme jokes have been combined recently.
Yeah.
So you've got stuff like he wakes up and just goes, "Why does that trooper look like a skeleton wearing human flesh?" That's just Trooper Steve.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
He's absolutely fine.
Yeah, brilliant.
So, how do you look so good, Gilliman? Logistics.
I mean, I am so looking forward to this book. I mean, have you read the Arcs of Omen yet, guys?
I've read the first one. I am yet to get any further than that.
So good, right?
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
So good. The Angron is thus far my favourite. I haven't got Vashtor yet. I've got to get Vashtor, but Angron was amazing. The Arcs of Omen books have been out of this world, and this one I cannot wait for. I absolutely cannot wait for. I mean, this is the biggest thing to happen to the Imperium for a long time, isn't it? This is really significant. The Loyalists have needed bolstering. You've got 3 traitor Primarchs as playable miniatures in the game. They needed this.
Why is there a picture of the Lion with a silhouette of Gilliman behind him, and then a silhouette of somebody else? Is that just meant to be a Dark Angels Marine?
I'm not
or
sure.
Is that a hint?
It is interesting, isn't it? I mean, the Arcs of Omen hasn't quite concluded
No.
yet, has it? So
This is the last book, right?
who knows?
No,
Is this the last
that's what I'm
book, the
asking.
Lion one?
It's number 5.
Yeah.
So I would guess.
I don't know.
I'm-
Is this the last
I'm sure
one?
it is, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because I'm
so this
certain
will
somebody
mark-
said that the last book was a Xenos book, but...
Oh.
I thought it was a Xenos book as well. I thought they said it was a Xenos book. But, I mean, if this is the end, then it's a good end, right? To Ninth Ed and to the Arcs of Omen themselves, the Lion coming
Yeah.
back. This is huge. This is
I am
huge.
so happy that he's got 2 little watchers in the dark with him.
Oh, he's all... I mean, the miniature... I mean, narratively, I'm really interested because the Lion is a really contentious Primarch to bring back. If it were any of those that are still alive would probably be contentious, but the Lion is particularly contentious because Guilliman never liked him. He never trusted him. We know from the Horus Heresy books that he was always playing the long game. You know, right up until a particular point in the Heresy, he's still undecided as to who he's going to support, Horus or the Emperor. He has his own agendas turning away, so and I imagine he's not going to be that happy. Maybe even less happy than Guilliman is with the state of the Imperium as it currently stands.
Absolutely, and the fact that he's going to be back with a load of weight behind him. What does this mean for the Dark Angels chapter? You know,
well, for the chapter, right? Because I was talking to Andy about this before we came on. The chapter has kind of soiled its hands, right? It's immersed in some of the darkest imaginable stuff. They haven't really been good boys while Daddy's been away, you know?
no, correct, they have not.
So what's the dynamic between him and his Legion going to be?
And, how's it going to work with him, between him and the Chapter Master? Because
Azrael
Azrael
of
holds
course.
a lot of secrets that is
Yeah.
Big Daddy Lion going to know most of them? That's...
It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating how he is going to fit. I mean, it was difficult with Robotay, because Robotay, again, he's from the old Imperium, right? He is from an Imperium that's dead. It doesn't even exist anymore as an ideology. What is currently manifested in the Imperium is antithetical to what the Emperor was allegedly trying to do back then. So I can't see it going down well.
No.
And of course, since Robotay has taken over, I mean, the Imperium hasn't fared that well. They've had a lot of disasters happen, including the destruction of Cadia and the opening of the Cicatrix. So I can imagine the Lion being, well, you dropped the ball, didn't you?
I mean, we talked years ago now, when Gilliman came out, that we thought that maybe Sanguinius would be the next Primarch, or something similar. Creating that gulf, that void between the two ideas, and creating the Imperium Secundus and the Imperium Nihilus. But then this actually makes a lot more sense, because it's a lot more of a subtle fight between the two, rather than it being you've done it all wrong. This is going to be, right, do I have to fix your mess? And of course, before all that, he has to go and kick the shit out of Angron, which is
Apparently so, yeah. Apparently so. There's going to be a fight between him and Angron.
I hope that the fight is he steps out the way and Gazgul just runs at him.
Yeah. In vengeance, of course, for Yarick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, miniatures wise, this is. I like Guilliman fine. He's a great miniature. This is awesome.
Oh, this is.
This is the first, I'm biased because I really like Lionel Johnson anyway. I like the Dark Angels. This is wonderful. I'm going to get this guy and just paint him up. Because every different version of him is amazing as well. I mean, the various heads. I like the one with the helmet and the cowl the best.
I like the cowl, the Green Arrow hood. I think that's really cool. Was it you, Andy, that sent the picture of him taking his ears off before he could put the hood up?
It might have been me, it might have been somebody else. I remember seeing it online and being like, that's fun.
Yeah. He's definitely got to do something about those wings if he wants his hood up, doesn't he?
But I am...
of course, it's the lion helm, isn't it? Of course, it's what was carried around by the Watcher in the Dark on Azrael's old miniature. Of course it
Which
is.
means if I ever got this, I wouldn't want to put that on him because I want him chasing the Watcher.
No.
Get ready, you little bastard.
Yeah. I also love this thing they're setting up which when the loyalist Primarchs come back, they each have a piece of the Emperor's apparel with
really
them.
cool.
What
That's
part does he
really
have?
cool. I like that. So Robotay has the sword, Lion has the shield.
Oh.
Which
The
in
Emperor's shield.
itself is a wonderful piece of metafiction. Yeah, the sword and the shield. That's the attack and the defense. That's it.
So Russ will almost certainly have his claw, won't he? Because it fits with his aesthetic and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's very cool. And the only one who's still alive after that is Yagati,
Vulcan, possibly.
purportedly. Vulcan, of course, potentially Vulcan. Yes, because he's a perpetual, isn't he? Of course
But
he's alive.
I'm not going to talk about Vulcan because I'm pissed off with Vulcan.
Ah,
Fucking Vulcan. Nearly got a reason for the Legion of the Damned. Fucking Vulcan. Completely undoing that plan. Fucking Vulcan. Anyhow.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. If there's a throwaway line in Echoes of Eternity, right? Not in Echoes of Eternity, in The End and the Death, where he says to, I think it's actually to the Emperor, that he was lost in the tracts of the webway for a time that they can't even imagine. He as he was healing from Magnus's assault and as he was trying to get back to the Emperor, time was dilating and he was lost in there for millennia. So there's still plenty of scope for him to have sired the Legion of the Damned at that time.
But he got better.
So you're all right, Adam. I think you're
He
okay.
got better, though. God damn it.
He did get better, yeah, but he's a perpetual. He's going to get better, you know. They do.
Moving on, though. This guy. I'm looking forward to reading the book. I am hoping
me too.
that after 35 years, we kind of get a bit of an answer about what the Watchers in the Dark are. On one hand, I want them to.
That would be nice.
On the other hand, I don't want them to because I really like the fact that they've kept this mystery going for so long.
Yeah, and they are one of the fundamental mysteries, aren't they? And they've been there since before, of course. They were on Caliban before the Legion was even a Legion, before they were Space Marines, right? So, who knows? It's hard to say, isn't it?
One of them looks like he's got a little robot hand.
He does. He does. It makes you wonder, are, like, the Watchers in the Dark that are on the Rock the same as the Watchers in the Dark that were on old Caliban?
I don't know.
Or are they just robotic simulacra of what
I don't know.
the
I
Watchers
want to
were?
know. I also want to know.
Hard to
I also want
say.
to know who wakes him up. Who had the big brass balls to go and say, "Excuse me, ding ding a ding."
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Gilliman, he was healing from his wounds, right?
Yeah.
He was recovering after his fight with Luther on Caliban when it blew apart. Luther's gone now, of course. So, of course, that's going to be one of his narrative dynamics. He's going to be hunting Luther, right?
Exactly.
In fact, I think that's what they might use to reconcile him with his Legion. That's what I think they're going to use. He's going to be like, right, I'm really pissed off with all of you, and we're going to talk about this. But for now, we need to find Luther, and we can't let any of these idiots know.
Yeah.
Okay? So, we're going to be hunting Luther from now on, all right?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I really want to read this book. I'm hoping that they do a series of books like they did with Gilliman, like a series of novels with the Dark Imperium novels, because that got you into Gilliman's mindset so well. I mean,
It did. It really
that
did.
sequence where he starts strangling a priest is one of my favourite bits of 40k.
Yeah.
It's
I really like that. I like the bits of introspection as well, where he's like, I know I've got to play this role. I can't just go in and kill all of the priests, because that will do nobody any good, as much as I want to.
Like the priest guy, he's like talking about how Rabuti's got this angelic face as he's slowly having the blood squeezed out of his neck. It's like the angelic face is replaced by something much darker. No, mate, that's just the light in your eyes fading. It's a really good moment. Just the rage.
I can see I can see the Lion being even less tolerant than Gilliman. I don't think he's quite got the patience and the diplomacy that Gilliman has, you know. Gilliman understands that he can't do what he wants to do without tearing apart the Imperium, right? Lion, I don't think would care.
Well, the Lion doesn't need to care because Gilliman's already doing it. if
Yeah.
Johnson had been the first one to wake up, doesn't it seem really weird to have a guy in the 41st millennium called Johnson? But anyhow,
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he with Gilliman being there, he's gonna have to give less of a shit. He doesn't have to be the perfect son if he'd been the first one to return.
No.
Yeah, he can go off and do his shit. He can do his thing, and I wonder with this and how we've seen 40k 10th Ed's box set looking, if the Dark Angels are going to get a bit more front and centre in the next edition.
It looks like they might. I mean, and even like the Blood Angels as well. And we've already seen the updated Dante, so it looks like they're going to be coming quite early on. I imagine
It would make sense to get the Space Marine stuff done at the beginning of the new shelf life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which they always do. I mean, that's definitely going to be the case, isn't it? Because that's just how it works, right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and I think there's a lot of good things to come from that. So yeah, all in all, really like Lion. He looks just great.
Very happy. I like the miniature. I like what he represents. I'm really excited by the narrative possibilities that come from him being back in the universe. It's great, and also all the potential dynamics you've got going on. I mean, he's got to encounter the traitor Primarchs at some point. Magnus and Mortarion. We know he's going to have a bit of a throwdown with Angron already. That's great. Also, the Space Wolves aren't going to be pleased, are they?
Real
Bloody
pissed.
hell! Oh, they're not going to be happy.
I hope then that we're going to get a few more of these guys out a bit quicker, because the
Primarchs,
I mean, we know those rumours of Russ. The rumours were up in the air. Was it Russ or was it the Lion? So it would be not a bad idea if Russ did make a reappearance in the not too foreseeable, just to balance it out.
Well, that you've got an excuse in the Lion. Because Russ never liked the Lion and he never trusted him. Him coming back to sort of keep the Lion in line, that might be a good narrative for it. Because he's in the warp somewhere, isn't he, Russ? He was lost in the warp, wasn't he? So,
he wandered in with a big stick and said, "I'm off to beat up some people. I'll see you later."
Yes, that's exactly it, and never came back.
Never returned. Right? So if he does come back, he's going to be a bit more warpy than...
I hope so. I hope he's a big wolfen. That's what I hope. I hope he's like a big werewolf. I think that'd be amazing.
I'm in two minds about that one, because I think that could look a bit off. But if he's just really bestial, like the big bare forearms. If he looked more like he's only 3 steps away from being like a World Eater Primarch, that would be perfect for me.
As close to a Demon Primarch as you can get, being a loyalist. Yeah.
A really big mouth, but not a muzzle. That type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Right then, so...
But I suppose we've got to get into it, don't we? We've got to get into, like, the big one. The really big one.
Yeah, so 10th edition was announced, and...
10 editions of 40k. I got in second ed.
Yeah, I got in towards the end of Rogue Trader, really got in with second ed.
You were at the... I was going to say, you were towards the end of first edition, weren't you? So, cripes, wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I'm actually kind of stunned. 10 editions of Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, and unlike... I mean, the 9th edition release, I really liked the look of it. Necrons, awesome, cool. And of course, 7, it was alright. It was decent.
7th was a problem. 7th was a problem. It wasn't far enough away from 6th to be any good, And 6th wasn't that great.
But having brand new, grand spanking Terminators, it is the thing that I have wanted for so long.
You've been talking about this for ages, have you? Since they started doing the Primaris, you were worried that they might phase them out at one point. But my God, and they are good. I mean, they're just scaled up classic Terminators, right?
Perfect. It's what I want. It's what I want out of life.
And when I say scaled up, I mean
big.
Huge.
They're so big. They're so chunky.
Big, beefy boys, as they're supposed to be. These guys, I mean, Space Marines are gigantic. Terminators are gigantic to Space Marines.
And the fact that these are now a suit of armor that either Firstborn or Primaris could wear. So,
I love the way they've gotten
Yep.
around that. I love that. So they don't have to fuck about with it. They don't have to mess about with the concept or any additional special rules or anything like that. Terminators are Terminators, and they are the ultimate elite of the Space Marines. It doesn't matter if you're a Firstborn or if you're a Primaris. If you're in Terminator armor, you're in Terminator armor, and that's it.
That's perfect.
Love it.
Absolutely spot on.
That is such a clever way of getting around it, you know. It's just like reconciling those two problems and just sort of like, it doesn't matter, you know. Don't fret about it.
And I'm just looking at the Terminators, and they haven't buggered about with anything. They're just Terminators.
They are what you want,
Yep.
right? I don't like what you
Absolutely.
wanted from day one. They're the only thing they've changed are like really subtle details. Like they've changed just a few of the dimensions a little bit to make them beefier, to make them look like really imposing. I mean, there's a comparison picture here with the Terminator next to a Primaris and next to one of the previous lot of Terminators. The previous lot of Terminators are not. There's nothing wrong with them, but I don't like the fact that they've put them in dynamic poses. Terminators aren't supposed to be that. They're hard to move in. That's one of the weaknesses of the armor.
Absolutely.
Right?
They're technical dreadnought armor. They are the thudding sound of doom as it slowly approaches. Yeah. And look at this guy with his big chunky thunks, and he just bang, 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 clonk, 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 crunch, crunch. Yeah.
You can see one of the big like differences they've made is to the proportions of the lower leg. So the lower leg has been expanded enormously for the armor stability, but it also makes them that much more imposing. It makes them look like they're stomping forward. You know, I love that. I'm
so happy that the head hasn't changed. The mask is the same. The Terminators still look like the fucking Terminators, and
it's very the only differences are actually just really subtle. They're just little like tweaks to the dimensions and proportions to give them a very particular silhouette. The same, funnily enough, is true of the Termagants. You know, the Termagants are not that much different from the previous lot until you start looking at them in comparison. They've been scaled up. They're bigger. They're bigger than the old Termagants. That's for damn sure. They are way more dynamic, but not over the top. You know, they're not sort of like leaping around or anything. They just look a little bit more natural and sinuous, and they've got a few more organic details on them.
man.
They're lovely, actually. I really, 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 really like the new Termagants. I think they're if this is like the aesthetic we're going for with the new Tyranids, and like, given what we've seen in those cinematics that they released, where it looks like there's a lot of reference being paid to the older Tyranid designs.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to do a halfway point between the current Tyranids and the older ones. I mean, granted,
that's
it's
what
not
it looks
getting as
like.
gribbly or as out and out weird as I'd like, but then again, saying that we haven't seen the range, and
we haven't seen the entire range yet. We've only seen glimpses, of course. I mean, if this is the way they're going, then great. I'm all in, you know. And it looks. I mean, I think it's fairly clear now that the opening salvo is going to be Space Marines versus Tyranids, right? And the narrative dynamic is interesting as well. It looks, because for the longest time it really has been Imperium versus Chaos, hasn't it? It's not really been much else, to be honest. It looks like all of that is going to be turned on its head now, and you're going to get the greater threat of the Tyranids coming back.
the fourth tyrannic
like
war.
Leviathan. Right, the fourth Tyrannic War. So the Tyrannic Wars, I mean, it's hard to explain like the scale of these things. The last Tyrannic War almost obliterated the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
It like almost consumed the Imperium. It almost consumed everything. So this is going to be
I would
epic.
put a pin in that only because, do you remember what the start of 9th edition was?
9th
Yeah,
edition.
the
It
Necrons
was,
returning and the Silent King.
What did the
That's
Necrons
right.
do?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are right. You
I mean,
are
maybe
right.
maybe they'll
and
maybe
they
they'll
didn't
learn
do
from
anything
the mistake
with it.
of not actually doing anything with them, and maybe they'll do something with them. But there's the potential that they just go.
I hope so.
Chaos.
Yeah, you
again.
are right. You are absolutely right. Yeah, because they didn't do it with the Necrons, did they? Even though like the Silent King coming back should have
He's
been a
done nothing,
really
as far as I've heard
like
from you two.
significant moment.
Nope, no, he hasn't.
Nope. It's absolutely true. They haven't. I mean, they did absolutely nothing after the opening campaign. That was it. And it's like, oh.
So,
But I'm very excited for this. I am really, really on the edge of my seat for this. It sounds like, from the spiel we've been getting and from what we've actually seen, they are being really reactive to what people have been asking for throughout, as Ninth Ed has gone on. I mean, as I've said before, Ninth Ed is my favourite version of the game. I think it is definitely the best version of 40k that's ever been out there. It's certainly the most consistent, but it does still have that problem with, like, there's internal balance issues with the codices, so you've got, like, the illusion of choice, effectively. There's all these, like, different stratagems and different options and different sub-factions, but realistically, you're only using a handful of them. So the whole shtick with 10th Ed, it seems, is they're refining those options down. So it's going to be like, and I think we were right beforehand. The World Eaters Codex is the bridge. It's the bridge between the Codex formats, because the World Eaters Codex is completely different from all the other 9th Ed codices. It has 1 page of rules for your army, 1 page of stratagems, 3 relics, 3 warlord traits. That's it. That's it. There's no arsing about with it. There's none of this sort of like, use this stratagem to make this other miniature a new general or a new warlord, and that warlord can have a warlord trait, and you've got to keep track of that, and it can also have a relic with this stratagem, so you can do that. There's none of that. There is none of that. And every option in that book is worth taking. There's a reason for taking everything. And that seems to be what they've gone for. That seems to have been like the onus with this one. Stop giving us false choices. Stop having units that you're going to take automatically over units you're not going to take. The most exciting thing for me, and I think for almost anyone who's ever played the game, since 3rd Ed, no more Force Organization chart. Yes, that's brilliant. So again, it's more like AOS. They've gone for the AOS thing where they've got rid of the notion of troops. There's not troops anymore. You've got battle line, just like AOS, right? Who are your troop equivalents, and they have far less of a limitation than other units. But it seems as though it doesn't matter. You don't necessarily have to take battle line units. It just means they're less limited. That is wonderful, because it means you can, if you want to put together your first company Terminators as an army, you can do it. If you want to put together a little Dreadnought-based force, you can do it. Brilliant. That's what people have been crying out for ages, since the Force Organisation chart came in back in 3rd Ed.
I hate the Force Organisation chart, and I'm so glad it's gone.
I've never liked it. I'll be honest, I've never liked it. I've always felt really constrained by it. I've always felt like I want to take this, but I can't. I want to take that, but I can't, I've got to take this because you've got to have this if you want this detachment, or you want, It's always annoyed me a little bit. That's all gone. It's more like AOS.
There's something that got announced here, which I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, which I find really strange. Pardon me. And that is that it's a whole new system, right? Yep. So, obviously, all the existing codexes and stuff are not worthwhile having. They don't work for this new system, right? They
are made redundant by this new system.
So, the fact that everything is released for free day one.
Yes!
That is a massive thing.
Yes! Online, as people have been asking for, this is brilliant. And everything is on the data slates, right? So, like, one of the things they were talking about is they've refined the game massively. So there's no psychic phase anymore, which is fine. They've gone back to sort of like the old 3rd Ed route, where psychic powers are abilities and weapons on a character's sheet. So you don't, for Thousand Sons players, there are Thousand Sons players out there going, thank you, Zinch. Thank you, Changer of Ways, because it just takes off so much of the pressure and the bookkeeping. What tended to happen, if you were playing a game with the Thousand Sons, as much as I loved them in 9th Ed, I thought they were really interesting and a really unusual army. In the psychic phase, your player would go, the opposing player would go and make a cup of tea while you sorted out the psychic phase, basically. Because that's what you had to do. You had to sort of work out, well, that aspiring sorcerer has got these powers, that exalted sorcerer has got these powers, I'll cast that one, then you had to bookkeep a lot.
Yeah.
All of that's gone. All of that's done with. Psychic powers are now on the actual data slate. So you know what each sorcerer has got, you know what each psyker has got, and what they can do or what they can take. And brilliant.
The only way I'd be happier is
Absolutely
if they brought
brilliant.
back the really thick cards that where you had all the information on for psychic powers. That
Oh yes, like from Dark
that's the
Millennium.
one. That's the only way.
Yeah, crikes.
Andy,
Aye.
you're a Tiri boy.
What's that? What?
You're
You what now?
you like the Tyranids.
Yeah, they're fun. Yeah.
Yep. So what are you feeling on these Tyranids?
I can't say too much just because we haven't seen a huge amount of the
We haven't
range.
seen
We've
a
the
great
Termagants.
deal.
Yeah, they look nice. I think George is right when he says that they are a kind of. It looks like they might be a little bit of a mix between the old and the new. They can't go all the way to the old because it is silly.
Nope.
And
Yeah.
I think I think maybe the idea is they'd ostracize the people that like the current Tyranids.
Yeah.
So they can't go
Yeah.
that far either. So
Yeah.
maybe if you put it in the middle, it's kind of updating them a bit, making them a bit more interesting, but without going too far.
Did you glimpse, Andy? Did you
I
watch
did.
the cinematic?
I didn't think the
that they
cinematic was
released?
very good.
Did you
Yes.
glimpse the Screamer Killer? Did you glimpse
Yes,
the Screamer
it
Killer?
they've changed it, so it doesn't look quite the same. To me, it kind of looked like a big Gene Stealer, but with
Kind
but
of
with
like a big
spider
Gene Stealer,
arms,
yeah.
which is fine.
It's like what you were saying. It's kind of like a mixture of the old Screamer Killer and the new
Yeah.
Carnifex. You know, it's like a fusion of the two. The Zoanthropes that we saw as well
Hmm.
are kind of similar. They look like mixtures of the floaty Zoanthropes and the silly walking one from Secondary.
And like I say, I think it's the only way they could really do it. To be fair,
Yeah.
I'd like them to have gone full
Yeah.
old school, but they're never gonna do it.
It's not going to happen.
That's never going to
No.
happen, no. But I'm very excited. I mean, the Tyranids were very good in. I mean, they were very good in Ninth Ed. They were one of the killer armies in Ninth Ed, actually. I can't wait to see what they do with them with this one. You know, overhauling the range, that's needed doing for a very long time. So yeah, it's all very exciting. There's so much. They've released so much. The other thing they were talking about is morale now. There's no morale phase now. As there has always been in 40k, actually. Every version of 40k has had a dedicated morale phase. But now they've collapsed that into the command phase. So all morale occurs there, and apparently it's much simplified. It's much easier to sort of work out.
Yeah. Right.
Which is great. All this, you know, the objective secured stuff, which has always been a nightmare, where like this unit has objective secured, this unit doesn't, but this unit has more miniatures. So is it holding an objective or not? I don't really know. I've got to look at the rules and see how it works. None of that. There's a new characteristic, which is your objective characteristic, and each unit has a different one. And if it's higher, then they are better at holding objectives. You know, it's great. That's a great idea.
So much sense. I'm excited to see what the rule set's going to look like because I think.
Yeah, me too. Apparently, they were saying that the core rules can be fit inside a pamphlet. You know, it's really, really simple.
AOS.
Compared to it's from what we've seen. It's 3rd edition AOS.
Yeah.
That's what they've done. They've just taken 3rd edition AOS and, you know, pruned a few things away, collapsed it a little bit down, and transmuted it to 40k. Couldn't be happier. Could not be happier because that game system, as we mentioned earlier, is brilliant. They also said that the stratagems are going to be more like what the tactics are in third ed AOS, where they're reactive. So you use the most of them in your opponent's face to react to what your opponent is doing. So they're much more dynamic.
That's the shit I want.
It'll be interesting to
too.
see how the
Me
community
too.
reacts to it. Will they enjoy the more simplistic game style, or will they be irritated that it is simplified?
I'll be honest, most of the... I've watched a lot and read a lot of the actual reactions thus far, and the vast majority are like, yes, this is what we've been asking for, you know? Because the problem with Ninth Ed, as much as I loved Ninth Ed, and I've had real fun with Ninth Ed, is that it's just... There's too much everywhere. There's like different... Within the codices, there are sub-factions all over the place, and there are all these different stratagems, and there are all, you know, 2 pages worth of stratagems a lot of the time. There are all these warlord traits and relic traits, and all of these things that are unique to each sub-faction, and it's just too much, you know. Then there's also like the different rules that come in that are in this book or that book, and they're over there and over here, and you've got to carry a library around with you to understand what the current status of the game is. Yeah, if that's what they're doing away with, then fine, all good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things I found really interesting was people saying that if you want incredibly rules-heavy 40k, you've got the Horus Heresy. If you want
Exactly.
something that's a lot easier to get into, a lot easier to play, and a lot of people are talking about how the chances are that the big rules, where it'll get complex, is what you add to it, add to the main game.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a normal player versus player 40k, it's going to be quite simple. When you start doing the boarding action stuff, it's going to be a bit more involved. If you're doing that's the kind of the idea that a lot of people feel there's going to be a lot of mutations and permutations you can do to the game going forward.
It looks like they've done that deliberately. So there's lots of different versions of the game. There's the entry level, which is Combat Patrol, of course, where they've taken and this is such a good idea. This is a brilliant idea. So all of the combat patrols that exist out there in the boxes, those are your starting points, and you can pick up a couple of them and play a game. A balanced game, which is like, that is going to be so good for new players. That is going to be, because you don't have to break the bank, right?
So are we thinking that this is a reaction to the amount of Warhammer that's been put out into the world over the last few years? So we know that Amazon's signed a deal to do some stuff, where Marvel did some comics. There's been it's gained a lot more traction in the general public knowledge than it has done over the last few years. So are we feeling that the idea is that they made it super simple in order to catch as many people as they can?
I think that's entirely true, but it's also, I mean, don't get me wrong, like a lot of older players like ourselves, I mean, we've been crying out for this as well. To be honest, this is something that we've wanted for ages. Just stop over complexifying, stop introducing stuff like false choice. That's a big one for me, where you've got all these options. Yeah, they're fun, they're interesting, but they don't really do anything. Certainly not in comparison to a really good example, my favorite faction in 40k, which is the Thousand Sons. You've got you've got sub rules for each of the different cabals of the Thousand Sons, right? And don't get me wrong, they're all fun in their own peculiar ways, and they all have application in different areas, but the thing is, most people are only taking two. Yeah. They're either taking the Cult of Duplicity or the Cult of Time. That's it. Because those are the objectively stronger ones.
That makes sense.
They have the better psychic power, they have the better warlord trait, and they have the better relic. So obviously you're going to be taking them. And that seems to be what they're removing, this notion of false choice, where it's just confusing, It's the illusion of choice is what they're removing, which is a great idea.
And I think one thing that we do have to talk about as well is the cinematic that came out with it. Because me and Andy are very much of a certain mindset here, where this would have probably been better broken down into 15-second chunks.
Yes.
Because there are elements which I fucking adore, like the way that the camera pans up the Terminator's assault cannon after it teleports in.
Yeah,
that was so fun. Good. But the way it's set, it's really hard. Now, since me and Andy talked about this on Saturday, actually, I've realised something, and I think it's on purpose. The reason that so much of it is hard to see is just to get you interested and go and discuss it.
I think you're right. I think that's it. It's almost like that. They're drip feeding like little visual rumours, aren't they? What was that? Oh, was that a zone throw? Was that a Carnifex and so on and so forth.
A cinematic for the reveal, it kind of ends up being a bit messy. Ninth was a beautiful cinematic. It's so good. But it's just one of those things where I just had to point out. And Andy, what are your feelings on it?
I mean, it was definitely narratively a bit messy visually. The graphics were nice. I think Bobby looked a bit strange. Just his facial design looked a bit almost cartoony. Almost, there was something strange about how they designed.
Puffy.
Puffy
is the word I use.
Yeah, maybe that works. But I think they could have done a better job with what they did. But clearly, it was like you say to to tease things rather than focus
Yeah.
on them, which is
I think
strange as
so,
well
yeah.
because they showed enough where if anybody makes these things, people are just going to freeze the video and look point by point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So why
absolutely.
not just highlight
yeah,
them?
Just gonna like. Yeah.
Because people are still going to talk about it if you just again make it. I think just placing it in different locations instead of just the same jungle. That was my main issue.
Yeah.
And what made it a bit confusing.
See something in like a hive
Something in a
city
hive
and like
yeah,
an
on a
ocean
ship or something.
world,
Yeah, a bit
something like
distinct, a little
that.
bit different.
Yeah,
That would have helped
absolutely.
it.
So, do we want to talk about the fact that Robuti's kneeling in front of the fucking silver door?
The grave of Sanguinius on Baal.
Is
that
it?
is.
I thought it was the
Yeah,
the Emperor.
it's the tomb of
I
Sanguinius.
thought it was where the
it's
Emperor
been
was entombed on the Golden Throne.
the Eternity Gate. No, it's not that. It's not the Eternity Gate. It's the grave of Sanguinius on Baal. That is, which is even more interesting, isn't it? Because
All right.
why? What's going on
I
there?
thought it was the door with the Warlords of Terror bowing down to the Emperor, but you might be right, actually. Yeah. Oh. Well, that just.
Yeah, I think it's.
I'll
I think
shut
it was.
up
I think
now
it was
because that
confirmed.
just destroys everything I was going to say. Oh.
Yeah, I think it was confirmed as the tomb of Sanguinius as opposed to the Emperor's. The gate to the Golden Throne.
That's what I thought it was. Well, I'm going to leave my theories alone.
You can come up with new theories.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he is kneeling before the grave of Sanguinius is really
just dropped a
fascinating, right? I mean, what's the implication? yeah,
Yeah.
on his way out, yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be like, he was just going to walk in, see his dad, shake his dad's corpse around a bit, and just go, "Why? Why the lion?
Yeah.
Why?"
Yeah, of all the ones you could bring back, it had to be him. Bloody hell, man.
I just quite like the idea that there's.
I'd rather deal with Angron, you know?
I just quite like the idea of him just going around and just ragging his dad's corpse about a bit.
Yeah. I love the idea. I mean, like, how is Abaddon going to respond to this? Because he was really angry about Robotech coming back. He was very angry about that.
If the Mechanicus brought back Ferris as a robot.
You know what? People have been saying
really?
that for a while. If they wanted to bring back Ferris, they could. They could bring it back as a
just
cyborg,
robot.
right?
No head, but just robot.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of fun. A robotic loyalist,
the Emperor's
cyborg,
helmet.
loyalist Primarch.
A robot with two heads. One is Ferris, the other's Perturabo, and they just watch them argue.
Oh my god, yeah, that wouldn't go down
I'd
well,
be
would
me
it?
happy.
No, you do the other head that's like good version of Fulgrim.
Yes, yeah, it'd have to be
Yes.
Fulgrim, wouldn't it? It'd have to be Fulgrim.
Oh, Fulgrim would so have his good head
given their
stitched on,
history.
wouldn't he?
Yep. But it'd have to be the good one because you couldn't have the demon one. That'd be that
No.
wouldn't work.
No, the demon
No.
one, it wouldn't matter, would it? You know, he'd be like, well, I can just grow it back, who cares?
Right then, I think that's all the news we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm very, very intrigued now, and it's worked on me.
Yep. Oh no, I'm really into it. It's one of the reasons that I've actually gone Votan because 10th's been announced, so why not, eh? Why not?
And the fact that we can everybody, when the release comes, everybody's going to be able to discuss immediately what their army does and what the dynamics are. It's not going to be like, I've got to wait like God knows how long for my codex
Obviously,
to
like
come
a
out.
basic version. I think I said this to Griff. It's going to be like the Grand Alliance books. It's going to
The
be
index,
the most
the
basic
index
stuff,
of
just so you can
starters,
get
yeah.
it working. And then your books will come out and it'll have like more interesting stuff.
Although, that said, they have said in the interviews and whatnot, the videos that have come out, that obviously the codexes will have a bit more in them, but the indexes they're going to release are going to have your army rule, they're going to have your army special rule, they're going to have your relics and your warlord traits and your stratagems and whatnot.
Basic.
So it's going to be you're going to understand how your army works, like in this new setting, like immediately.
Yeah, it's more
is
than
kind
the
of
get you by
interesting.
that we've had in the past. And the
Yes,
fact it's free
yeah.
is like round of applause. Absolutely,
That's
round
why
of applause.
I wonder how much they're gonna make the books almost essential, because there's no way they're going to give up the revenue of like 30 to 35 quid per book.
No.
No way.
What my guess would be is they will translate the current codexes into the indexes.
Yeah.
And then the new codexes will have a lot more to do, like, for whatever reason. And I think a lot of this as well will be a lot more miniatures hitting as well to get stuff out there for each codex, would be my guess. So I feel sorry for anybody who's a Space Marine player, because trying to read through a PDF codex for your armies is gonna...
It's gonna be like... It's gonna be a bitch.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you can, maybe they'll drop some Space Marine units just because they're shit. Like the standing turrets, that shit,
and also,
the bunker, that shit,
the big...
the buggies, their shit, the teddy bear armor, their shit.
Do you know...
Visually, at least.
The big problem with the Space Marines is, like, the units that all fulfill the same battlefield role. So, like, there's no real reason for owning all of them. You know? That's the big problem. My guess is what they'll do is they'll significantly rewrite what they do.
Yeah, that'll be my
Within
guess.
the game, you know, give them a purpose, give them a distinct function, and that is it. I mean, that on a functional level, that is the core of most people's complaints. Why is this unit shit in comparison to this one? You know, why can't they all have something to do that makes them worthwhile having? Right? Then they'll sell. It's not really rocket science.
Well, I think the problem with the Primaris has been from day one that it's been to try and get as much Primaris stuff out there without really considering what the rules for them are going to be.
What do they fulfill? Right, that's different from like what all the other
If we
units
put out a
fulfill.
new thing, people will buy the new thing. Don't worry about what the new thing does, though.
Yeah. And then you find out that the
That
new
has
thing
been a
has no
problem.
real use. Yeah, it's...
Or it's upon something else, I
Yeah,
suppose.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Which is just one of those things. So, shall we do the social media question and see how people feel? So,
yes, let's go for
this
it. Why
week's
not?
social media stumper is, with the rumours of a brand new Xenos race not being far out, what are you hoping for and why? Over on the Facebook, we have Christopher Napier saying, Rangda! Proper existential threat, ties into the Lion's return, and is almost a carte blanche as the lore is so vague. Potential for some sort of anti-Tyranid. Paul Anderson agrees with him and says, yes, this would really work. They would fit between the Tower and the Tyranid in respect to tech and organic, so would be interesting.
Yeah, that could work. That could really work, and the fact that it's already established in the lore as well, you know, but not so established that it's going to mess anything up if they expand it. Yeah, that could work. That, in fact, that sounds even likely.
Yeah, I think that's very workable. Although I did have to go back and look at the Ranga just to see what they were.
Just to see what they were.
Which is how I found out about the Philinids, to be honest with you. So, my eyes. Christopher Sir Carlson does not say lizard men, surprisingly enough. He says more Tau Alliance races fleshed out to their own army. Also tried the Diablo
That's
4 better.
interesting.
Whilst it was fun, you might as well just play Warhammer Chaos Bane, as they are similar enough, but one could be gotten real cheap. But I could just be saying that because my Necromancer and Wood Elf have the same playstyle with summons and range spam. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you about the Tau Alliance races, because that seems to be something that's been totally forgotten now.
Vesper?
It does, doesn't it? It's a shame.
Is that what they are, Vesper?
Yeah,
The
it's a
Vespid,
shame.
yeah.
That's Vespid.
I mean, the notion of the Tau being like this polyglot empire where there's lots of different races all incorporated. Such a shame that that's gone away. I'd love to see that incorporated a little bit. More.
It'd be just a nice way of running different types of Tau army. It could be pure Tau, where you've got Farsight, and then you've got one that has more alliances in it.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And you could even have human, forces in that.
Yeah.
Because there are human civilizations that exist within the Tau Empire.
Are any of those cat girls in the Sisters of Battle? No, I'm
Depends
serious.
on what internet art site you're looking at.
I hope not.
Sisters of Battle with cat ears.
How far cat are they? Where on
Quite
the
cat.
Yeah,
where on the
what are
furry
we
meter
talking
are
here?
they? Because there is like a internet furry meter. Just like one where they just have cat ears, and then it's like 5 where it's just they're a cat.
I would say about
Yeah.
3, because much There are no cats on Filinid. It was one of those ones where the humans who landed on this planet had to inject further genes into themselves in order to survive on the planet, and these fuckers did cats for reasons.
Oh, right. So it's not like a Red Dwarf
No.
thing where someone's stray house cat has evolved.
I would be
over
happier
millions
with
of
that
years
than
into a humanoid.
honestly. My life has become worse knowing that these things exist. It's I'm not happy.
It's a bit.
I like the idea of the
It's like,
Astro Militarum land and just go, all right, boys, we've got to breed them out of existence. The things you do for the Emperor, boys, zip.
Yeah, right. Roll up your sleeves, lads.
The
Here
jungle
comes Inquisitor
guys.
Weeb, and he's got lube. Paul Anderson, fucking guy. Paul Anderson says, I like how we've just gone from like lube to Paul Anderson. That makes me smile.
Sounds
Yeah.
Paul Anderson says, weren't there supposed to be things the Tyranids were running away from?
Maybe.
Yeah, actually, in some of the background, yes, there is a suggestion that the Tyranids are running away from a greater threat out in like beyond the galaxy, beyond the
Dog
universe.
boys.
Gerbil men.
One can only imagine.
Gerbil men.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I hope that we never find out what the Tyranids were running away from, because you've got a load of different reasons and ideas and theories why the Tyranids turned up, and
Well, it's one of the great mysteries, isn't it? It's one of those ones that really they shouldn't ever answer. Maybe they should, suggest different things and, expand it a little bit, but never firmly answer, where they come from. I mean, the big one, of course, is that they are a weapon against chaos, right? They're a biological weapon, like the orcs. They're a biological weapon to burn out the warp, right? Or to smother the warp, which they're very good at. It seems they're very, very good at
the
that.
idea that they've actually done that in their own galaxy, and that's how they ended up coming to ours. That's
if there's a good guy, a good race in 40k, one that's actually going to bring about the stability of the universe. It's
Well, if there's nothing alive, I guess, you could say, well, that's chaos as well,
Exactly.
'cause
Well-
chaos will do that as well, eventually.
eventually. But you've got to go through hell to get there. I mean, the thing with the Tyranids is, it isn't necessarily there's nothing alive. It's just that they will create an entirely soulless universe, so entirely cut off from the warp.
Very Nagashi of them.
Kind of, and it's just that they do it in the opposite sense. They're life, right? They are thriving, insane life and evolution, and constant change. Whereas Nagash is death and stasis and control, but similar outcomes. Interestingly,
I imagine things would still technically live, though. So would Nurgle, right? Because as long as there's life.
but there's no souls.
because they don't have any echo. That's the
okay.
thing. That's the thing with the Tyranids. They don't have any echo in the warp. That's what really scares chaos about them. Every other living thing does. Everything does. But the Tyranids
There's
don't.
no ego to feed on. So
They are completely cut off from the warp. They are literally the shadow. When their echo in the warp is stagnation. It's just complete silence. Yeah. Which is even more scary somehow.
at least there's a personality to the Chaos Gods.
Yeah.
Nick
right.
Davidson says, Loxatl, because we need lizard men.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a possibility. An adaptation of the old Slann, or the old ones, I think that's a
I
possibility.
also just wish to apologise, because I've just realised I've said the word Paul Anderson many times, and haven't gone, da-da-da-da-da, Sugar Bear. He's fuzzy like a pear.
Oh god.
And the reason I thought of that is because Big Swingin' D, the new Sugar Bear, says, tough one. I think Sugar Bear's idea of whatever the funk that the Five Fleets might be fleeing from could have legs, but maybe needs to be saved until the galaxy is well and truly fudged. Christopher's thought of more Tau client races is one I'm genuinely surprised that GW hasn't lent more into, and it'd be great to see more variety of auxiliaries available. Personally, I'd like to see them do more with the Zotes, and lest we forget that the Blackstone Fortress from Warhammer Quest is itself a Xenos artifact, unlike any of the others. Digging into that and making the various drones, army of spindle drones, bring that to me. It could make something very interesting. Coming out of left field, though, I'd dig it if they brought the Slann or the old ones back to 40k, but go full-on sci-fi mentalist weird shit in the way that AOS and Warhammer Fantasy Battle never allowed. bonus points if they came with the personal cachet of Jocaro, Primitive Alderi, and a Legion of Corks.
I was going to get really annoyed if no one mentioned the fucking monkeys.
Yeah, of course.
And, of course, Matt Messenger says, Space Rats.
Yeah, Space Skaven, yeah.
I mean, I'm all in for the idea of doing Zotes as their own race again, because, they've got a history. You can do things with them.
Yeah, they're originally Tyranid outlier.
No. They were a slave race.
Not originally, but later on, yeah.
Yeah, they were made subservient by the Tyranids in order to be...
Communicate with other races.
They were Mormons.
Sort of learn...
they were space Mormons.
Yeah, they were designed to learn about other races, weren't they? To make them more easily consumable.
Yeah, and to turn up and say, you've got two choices. Lay down your weapons and be eaten, or fight and be eaten. So, either way...
Not much of a choice.
Either way, you're going to get eaten. And it would be cool to see, because the Zote in the Blackstone Fortress novels is awesome.
What a great piece of work.
Yeah, he is the shit. Like, I love him to bits. And over on Twitter, Plain Old Stew, Dark Ages, says, Harud Space Skaven, give me Space Rats.
Harud are likely. Harud are definitely likely, because they've been mentioning them quite a lot lately.
Yeah. And finally, Andrew Turnbull says, the return of the Slan, just as they were in Rogue Trader and First Edition 40k. Nay retcons or updates. Just fucking go for it.
Yeah,
because the fan base will tear themselves apart in rage and or delight.
Yeah, so frog and chameleon people,
not in Rogue Trader, they were just frogs.
They were just frogs, weren't they?
Napoleonic space frogs, that's all they were.
Awesome. Would they get away with that now?
It's only the French.
No.
It was Napoleonic French space frogs. Yeah, no, that's not good.
We're English. We're meant to take the piss out of the French. It's built into our DNA. Do not deny thousands of years of history of us taking the piss out of the French. They do it to us, we do it to them. That's how it works.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to do it these days, though,
easy.
isn't it? Like,
They're
it's
fucking
really
French, fuck them. They eat snails.
And I'm looking over the pond at the moment and wondering how easy it would be to move to France. So, oh man. So yeah, that's all of the question answers. Give me your Q's, we'll give you some A's. And that's the show, I think, for this week.
Wow, yeah. I mean, there was a lot to go through there. I mean, I imagine there's going to be a lot more to talk about very soon, because it really is escalating now, isn't it, towards the end of Ninth Ed and whatnot. There's a lot coming, and every day there's been new stuff about what 40k is going to be.
Yeah, it's. I'm really looking forward to this new 40k, because I think it might actually be a game I can find time to play.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it looks like it's going to be quite easy to play, right?
That sounds good to me. I like the sound of that. So let's quickly then, Andy, your highlight of Adepticon. What was your favouriteest thing?
I like the idea that Space Hulk is going to be in our near future. So we've got Terminators, we've got new Tyranids, potential Space Hulk coming. I like the idea of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still
exists,
the possibility.
Maybe they'll just do it as just two kill teams or boarding teams, whatever you call them. That'll do.
Yeah, they might do it as an adaptation for like the boarding actions, or something like that.
I can see it. Also, well played for that little bit of troll in there, Andy.
Well, what did I do?
Yeah, for that subtle dig there.
What about you, Josh?
I got stressed. I got panicked.
what was your?
And when I get panicky, I get bitchy. I can't help it.
What was your least favourite thing, Andy?
Oh God. I'm thinking. Oh, it wasn't Adepticon, was it? The Underworld stuff. Was it Underworlds? Yeah. Was that Adepticon?
Yeah, that was released at Adepticon. Yeah,
it was that. I thought it was a kind of here's more Stormcast, even though they look nice.
More Stormcast. Yeah.
That is. George, what was your favourite?
Favorite was Lion.
Yep.
The Lion coming back. The Lion coming back is probably my favorite thing. I was very, very. I like it whenever a Primarch comes back. We've had, it's escalated, hasn't it? Because we had Angron not that long ago. So it really
I
has
think you meant, like,
stepped up a little bit.
The loyalist ones. I was like, we've had one.
Oh, that too. I mean, I get excited whenever a Primarch turns up again. But, like, yeah, having another loyalist is grand. I'm really, really pleased about that. Because they do need it. In narrative terms, it's definitely needed. You can't keep throwing the Chaos Primarchs in and just have Robotay, because it gets a bit silly after a while, doesn't it? It's come on.
But you need to have him, like, pushed back, and I don't think narratively they have been pushed back, have they? Have they? No, very much not. Very much not. In fact, almost everything they've done has been a success. The Demon Primarchs seem to win all the bloody time. I mean, Magnus succeeded in bringing Sorciarius back into the material universe. Angron, anything he does is kind of a success these days because he doesn't care. As long as he's slaughtering, he doesn't care. And because he's like even more immortal than the other Primarchs, he just keeps coming back. It doesn't matter.
I really like the idea that you put what Andy just said there about they keep being successful, and then you put that against the cinematic trailer where you just got Gilliman going, "Fucking hell, I'm so tired."
It's just Gilliman going, "Everything is going wrong. Oh, nothing has gone right since I woke up."
I'm half tempted now to redub that where it's just him like looking at this map going, "Fuck's sakes."
Yeah.
Seriously, what the fuck are Tyranids?
That's literally what the Necrons do every time they wake up, though. They're like, what's going on? Why are there so many things on my home?
Except for Trazyn.
Yes.
Trazyn has a...
Trazyn
likes it. Trazyn is an odd Necron. He likes having all these weird like insects all over his lawn,
to pick
as
up
it
and
were.
put in the box. Good.
Exactly that. In terms of least favourite, probably the Horus Heresy stuff, to be honest. And that's not because it's bad, it's just because I'm not that interested.
It'd be the same thing if there'd been Lord of the Rings announcement. That's a thing there. If you like it, excellent. It's not really for us. As for myself, my favourite thing is the Terminators. I'm so happy to see Terminators make a reappearance, and they are good, and they haven't been fucked around with. They are just Terminators, but bigger. But big, and I'm happy. And there is every chance in the world that I am going to try and do like Cloud Runner's Deathwing Terminators out of them.
Oh, with them guys, cripes.
Yeah, I just need to work out how to make tiny feathers.
He's gonna be big.
How do I make tiny feathers?
Wow.
Do you think when they find Luthor in the future, he should be in like, the old Terminator armor with the massive shoulders that go way above their heads?
Mm-hmm.
Should he be that armor?
Yep.
I don't know, because Luthor wasn't technically a space marine. I know it's really weird, but he wasn't. He's like Paul Pharaon,
They made Dante a Primaris.
I know,
Who gives a shit?
You're right. You are absolutely right. I'm just being pedantic. You're absolutely right.
I want him.
He was one of those.
But he's got like different beasts of chaos sticking out of every limb.
Well, like tied to his legs with bits of silly string.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair to Luthor, he didn't escape. He was taken. Because Luthor actually repented, So he's not necessarily like one of the Chaos guys anymore.
We don't know who took him, do we?
No, we don't. We're not entirely sure of who took him.
Prison.
So
I mean, museum. Here is the fall.
I would be overjoyed if Trazyn the Infinite nicked Luthor. I would be.
If like during all the chaos of the rock, of the Zeechan invasion of the Rock, Trazyn slipped in. Oh, you're so unique. I'm having you.
Oh
he is pretty unique.
Yeah.
Luthor's totally unique. Luthor is like one of the... He would be so what Trazyn would want.
I am in. Right, as far as I'm concerned, this is headcanon for me. That, like, the Chaos guys got to the cell and it was empty. And
empty. And Trazin had nicked off.
The little
them.
note on the floor with a picture of Trazin pointing, going, hey.
No.
Yeah.
They break through the door of the cell that holds Luthor, and Trazin's just there holding onto Luthor, gives him a little smile and a wink and a wave, and just teleports out. Perfection.
Necrons.
Just
Brilliance. Absolute brilliance.
Oh man, I'm in. I'm absolutely in for that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the funny thing, that could be true. That's what I like about that. That could actually be the case.
Man. Oh, right. So, yeah, Trazin nicks him, and then it ends up being, like, between him and, thingy, oh, God. Orican, thank you. And it's just, Trazin and Orican are just stealing Luthor's body for each other. And that's the sequel to the Infinite and the Divine.
Yeah.
It's just the pair of them just nicking Luthor's body off each other on a regular basis. Oh, shit, I've got only a leg, you bastard! Oh, man, I'm happy now. So, I don't think we're going to get any better than that. So, Andy, where can people find you if they so wish to teleport into your house?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube as Decayed Andy, as a Rotten Corpse, not as a 10-year period. And I'm also on the Moonbase 2 podcast. So you just go into Google, type in Moonbase 2 or Transformers Podcast, Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast, and you'll probably find me and Mikey, or just me.
Mm-hmm. And George, if people wanted to send you the rotted flesh of your enemies, where could they send it?
They can send it to the Exaggerated Elegy channel, where there are lots of podcasts, and video game let's plays, and things that we'll be picking up again very soon when I've got myself sorted in my current place. I am going to be doing it soon. I want to finish Dead Space first. I don't want to do two sort of survival horror remakes together. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing that. You can find me over on a new YouTube channel, Our Lives in Horror, where I do lots of interviews with people, creators from the small press and independent horror scene. That's going really well. It's really, really wonderful, that is. You can find links to all of my published work, my short story collections, over at strangeplaygrounds.com. Or if you just type in George Daniel Lee on the Evil Empire of Amazon, you'll definitely find my work. And if you fancy chatting, you can come and chat to me over on Twitter at Enigmatic Elegy.
Excellent stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Undergrufflock. Under at Grufflock and under at the Fluffenhammer. You come and talk to me about anything Warhammer based on the Fluffenhammer and anything at all on Twitter, because I will just talk shit to anyone. I'm quite happy. You can also find the Fluffenhammer obviously at thefluffenhammer.co.uk, where there is all sorts of stuff happening. Today, I just released the entirety of Space Crusade, which is now a public domain game, so you can now play Space Crusade for free in your browser. And I am very tempted to do a Let's Play on that fucker, because...
Yeah, the Amiga version is this. Oh my god, I haven't played that for years.
It's now classified as being abandonware, so...
Oh my god. I mean, effectively, guys, it's Space Crusade.
Yeah.
It's the board game as a video game. It's exactly
And me and my brother used to play the shit out of that, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. It's a really good game. It's a really good fun
Which then
game.
ended up being into a Space Crusade kind of mindset. So the deep dives this weekend, which every weekend I try to get out about 6 new articles, book reviews, deep dives into old issues of White Dwarf and the Citadel Journal, and something I call the Sunday Musings, which is a little test I set myself, which is on Sunday evening, I give myself an hour and I just type something out and see what it is, and then I put it out as the Sunday Musings. It's usually hobby-based, but then it also kind of talks about cosmic horror films or puns in 40k names.
There's a lot of them. There's a hell of a lot.
The fact that one of them is AstroCenter. Yeah, no, that's not... Talk about that again. Weird. But also, it could be things about talking about memories of the old War Games Club that I used to go to, which was one that got a lot of traction, surprisingly. Talking about the guy who used to run that. So, yeah, it could be about anything. So this weekend, I've got all of the Space Crusade articles that were released in White Dwarf. So if anybody out there has a copy of Space Crusade, the board game, I've got some expansions for you.
Awesome. Awesome.
We're also on Instagram at the Fluffenhammer and on Facebook, Fluffenhammer, and of course Discord, the Fluffenhammer, which you can find in the links below. My voice is giving out now, so I'm going to say good night and thank you for listening, if indeed you still are. Bye!
Bye-bye, guys.